Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. How's the Bishop Cock today? Hope everyone had a total week. Okay. All right. All praises. All right. Let's go into our Knesset ordinance, which is in the book of Devarim, also known as Deuteronomy, chapter 6, starting at verse 1. All right. Now this is the commandment, the statutes, and the judgments which Yahweh, your Elohim, command to teach you, that thou mayest fear Yahweh thy Elohim, and keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee, thou and thy sons. And hear therefore, O Yisrael, and take care to do it, that it may be well with thee, and that it may increase mightily, as Yahweh of thy fathers has promised thee, in the land that floweth with milk and honey. Hear, O Yisrael, Yahweh El, Yahweh is one. And you shall love Yahweh your Elohim, soul and with all your might, which I command thee this day, shall be in thy heart. And thou shalt teach them diligently, and shalt talk to them when thou sittest in the house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine arm, and thou shalt be as frontlets between thy eyes, and thou shalt write them upon the doorposts of thy house and on thy gates. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right, let's go into our next ordinance, which is in the same book of Devarim, also known as Deuteronomy, chapter 30, starting at verse 6. Hallelujah. And Yahweh thy heart, and the heart of thy seed, to love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And Yahweh thy Elohim will put all these curses upon thy enemy, and on them who hate thee, who persecute thee. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of Yahweh, and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. And Yahweh thy Elohim will make thee plenteous in every work of thy hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land for good. For Yahweh will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. If thou shalt hearken to the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the Torah. And if thou turn to Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul, for this commandment which I command thee this day, it is not hidden from thee, neither is it far off. It is not in the heavens, that thou shalt say, who shall go up for us to heaven to bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it? Nor is it beyond the sea, that thou shalt say, who shall go over the sea for us and bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it? But the word is very nigh unto thee, in thy mouth and in thy heart, that thou mayest do it. See, I have set before thee this day life and good, death and evil. In that I command thee this day to love Yahweh thy Elohim, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments. Turns away, so that thou wilt not hear, but shall be drawn away, and worship other Elohims, and serve them. I announce to you this day that you shall surely perish, and that you shall not prolong your days upon the land, whether thou passest over the Jordan to possess it. I call heaven and earth to witness this day against you, that I have set before thee life and death, blessings and curses. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live, that thou mayest love Yahweh thy Elohim, and that thou mayest obey his voice, and that thou mayest cleave to him. For he is thy life, and the life of thy days, that thou mayest dwell in the land which Yahweh swore to thy fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzchak, and to Yaakov, to give them. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right, let's go to our next ordinance, which is in the book of Vayikra, also known as Leviticus, chapter 26, starting at verse 40. And they them and brought them into the men for their sins. Then will I remember my covenant with y'all. I'll be forsaken by them, and they shall be my statutes. And yet, for all of that, when they are in the land of their enemies, I will not cast them away, nor will I abhor them, to destroy them utterly, and to break my covenant with them. For I am Yahweh thy Elohim. But I will, for their sake, remember the covenant of their ancestors, whom I brought out of the land of Mitzrayim, in the sight of the nations, that I might be their Elohim. I am Yahweh. These are the statutes and the judgments and the Torah, which Yahweh made between him and the children of Israel in Mount Sinai by the hand of Moshe. Hallelujah. 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 All right, can we stand for the Shema, please? Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Akkad, Wa Ahak Ta'ek, Yahweh Eloheka, Bakal, Nibabaka, Ubikal Nifeshka, Ubikal Meodeka. Hear, O Yisrael, Yahweh RL, Yahweh is one. And you should love Yahweh, your Elohim, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might.
Wa Deber Elohim et Ka Hadabarim Ha'ele Lemor. Leheka, Asher Hutza Teka, Me'eretz. Spoke all these words, saying, I am Yahweh, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other mighty ones before my face. Lo ta'asi lekap asil wa kol tamuna, asher ba'shemai mima awa asher ba'aretz. Mitakat wa asher ba'mai mitakat la'aretz. Lo tishtakwe lehem wa lo ta'obdim, ki enoki Yahweh leheka. Yokuna poked, auna bat, abanim el shilishim el rabiem lesanai. Wase kesed la'alapim le'hobaiwa ushim re'misutai. You do not make for yourself any carved images or any likeness of that which is in the heavens above, the earth beneath, or waters under the earth. You do not bow down to them nor serve them, for I, Yahweh, your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the crookedness of the fathers onto the children of the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing loving kindness to thousands who love me and guard my commands. Lo tesai Shem Yahweh leheka, l'shal kelo yanachwa, Yahweh asher yasa et shemo l'shal. You do not take the name Yahweh, your Elohim, in vain, for Yahweh does not leave the one unpunished who takes his name in vain. Zakora Yom HaShabbat Lekadsho, Shishi Yamim Ta'abo wa Asata Kol Malak Teka. Wa Yom HaShbi Shabbat Yahweh Elaheka, Lo Ta'ase Kol Malaka, Ata, Ubenka, Ubiteka, Abdeka, Wa Amaka, Ubihem Teka, Wa Gerga Asher Bishareka. Kishishi Yamim Asa Yahweh et Hashemayim, Wa et Haaretz et Hayam, Wa et Kol Asher Bam, Wa Enak Ba Yom HaShbi. Al Kain Barak Yahweh et Yom HaShabbat Wa Yakadeshu. Remember, a Shabbat day, set it apart. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is a Shabbat unto Yahweh, your Elohim. You do no work. You, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor the stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahweh created the heavens, the earth, the seas, and all that's in it. Rested on the seventh day. Therefore Yahweh brought the Shabbat day, set it apart. Kabed e abeka we emeka, lema'anya arakun yameka, al ha'damaya. Asher Yahweh Elaheka, noten lak. Honor your father and your mother, so your days may be prolonged upon the soil which Yahweh, your Elohim, is giving you. Lo terzak, do not murder. Lo terzak, do not murder. Lo tenaf, do not commit adultery. Lo tignob, do not steal. Lo ta'ane bereka et shaker, do not bear false witness against your neighbor. Lo takmod bet reeka, lo takmod shet reeka, wa abdo, wa amato, wishiro, wa kamaro, wiko, asher reeka. You do not covet the house of your neighbor. You do not covet the wife of your neighbor, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, cow, or donkey, or whatever else that belongs to your neighbor. Thus readeth the law. Hallelujah!
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 Hallelujah! Think not that I've come to destroy the law or the prophets. I do not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, until heaven and earth pass, not one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law until all be fulfilled. And whoever shall break the least of these commandments and teach man to do so shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. And whoever shall do these commandments and teach man to do so shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. And the two commandments that's greater than them all is to love Yahweh, your Elohim, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might, and to love thy neighbor as thyself. Hallelujah.
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 All right, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Again, family. How's everyone again? Wasn't under my voice earlier. Hope everyone was good. All right. We're gonna go into the book of Tehillim, also known as Psalms, and we're gonna start at chapter 1, verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right. Blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stands in the ways of the sinner, nor sits in the seat of the scorn. But his delight is in the Torah of Yahweh. And in his Torah he meditates day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by streams of water, that brings forth its fruits in its seasons. Its leaves also shall not wither. And in whatever he does, he shall prosper. Not so the wicked, but they are like the chaff, which the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked shall not stand in the judgment, nor
My hallelujah. First and foremost, giving all praise. How is my hallelujah for this season?
Hallelujah. 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 For strength,
Amen.
healing,
Amen.
game. All praises, all praises. Anyone else with hallelujah?
Hallelujah.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you for getting me for the last 6 days, bringing us today. My hallelujah is from yesterday because as I was preparing dinner, I spilled some grease, a good amount of grease, hot grease on my feet. Felt like it was like a forest fire. But I went to the emergency or whatever. It told me it was only first degree burn, so it wasn't nothing crazy. So I just want to thank him for that. Yesterday I was in so much pain. Today it's like I feel nothing. So I just want to give a hallelujah for that, for taking away the pain and for starting the healing. So hallelujah.
Hallelujah for protection and healing.
Yeah.
And for the pain to go away, right?
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
On his day, right?
I didn't put anything on it. I didn't take anything for it. Now I'm feeling great.
Hey, that's right. Y'all take care of that. All right? Hallelujah. Anyone else with hallelujah?
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Earlier this week, I was at school. There was like a big fight. It was like a bunch of people that fight, and this one guy got jumped. So the next day, so in my school you get 10 days, right, for fighting, but he didn't get any because So the next day, for some reason, he brought a gun to school. Yeah, but it was still he got right. Because that could have been like a way worse situation.
Okay. All praises. Okay. All praises for the right. Man. that's interesting because we had a thing at work and it was like, we don't recognize most people that are bring these type of things. Recognize most people that are bring these type of things to work and to, you know, do damage at work. We had a little beating and everything. But, and I know why they did it, but it's been going on from now. We just get, I know why they do it. We acted, you know, they had to put something. I keep.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
It was real yesterday. So I want to say so that y'all for the healing, you know. But I also want to say so that y'all for past situations and for growth for myself, you know, because you know when I used to have my own time and whenever we couldn't make it somewhere or whenever we couldn't do something, he used to always lie. Like, you know, my car broke down, he used to like so I took heat. I never do that. I want to keep it real with all my customers and be as honest as possible.
Right.
So when I got a customer who I'm doing his kitchen and he wanted me to work yesterday, he wanted to work during the Shabbat, and he said, yo, this is critical, I gotta get it done. So in my mind, this was on Thursday, me and him talking, and then Friday I was at work, he wanted me to take work off my job. I was like, yo, listen, this is my money maker, I can't do that. I see what I can do. So the whole time in the day, I was just going through my mind like that, what I'm gonna say, man, I know I can tell him the car broke down, tell him I got a flat. This is what I'm going in my mind. So then towards the end of the day, I meditated. I said, wait a minute, I went through this already. And the best thing to do was to keep it real. I became my own boss and doing my own thing just so I can keep it real and let you know what it is. So I called the dude and let him know, like, listen, man, I ain't gonna be able to do it. The best thing I can do, I can go to work for you Saturday night after the Shabbat. I bring me and my partner, we can knock it out for you. So he was like, yeah, you can't come out. I was like, nah. So he was like, all right, that's cool with me. You can come on Saturday. So my whole thing is, I'm thinking it's gonna be a big deal. I'm probably gonna lose it. He ain't gonna mess me up. I'm thinking it all quick, but then I had to throw it away. I said, y'all, you the king. You control everything. So I entertained. I entertained the thoughts, threw it away, and then y'all showed me that everything was told. And I had said that because, like I said, when I used to go work with the dude, me and him partners, he said, man, yo, we can't make it over there, so tell him. I'm like, yo, tell him the truth. Yo, tell him I got arrested for 5 days. And just tell him the truth. Like, we back up behind work. I don't want to lose contracts. And so all that was like a learning thing for me. So I took that and I applied it now, and everything was told. The guy felt like keeping it real. Like, oh, thank you for trying. You know what I'm saying? But all right, that's cool. So, you know, I want to give all praise to the Creator because that's growth right there. I showed that y'all showed me that. That was growth, you know what I'm saying? Because I ain't lie, I ain't kept it real. Like, even when he was telling me he wanted me to do it, the whole time I'm telling him, like, listen, I'm not gonna put my word out there because I know I'm not gonna come on the Shabbat. I said, so I'm not gonna do that. I said, so the whole time I'm telling him, like, listen, I'm not gonna put my word out there because I know I'm not gonna come on the Shabbat. I said, so I'm not gonna do that. I said, so I'll let you know what we can do when that time comes. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I called him. Got my brother Lord to come to that tonight. So I want to say to y'all for growth. The situations that you know, for recognizing that. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Okay. And that's what we do. You know, the thing, you know, you ain't got to do those things when you're serving. You got to do that. True. What they gonna do? They gonna say yes or no.
Right.
You know? Hey, but you know, and that's when you're talking about growth, that's why you need to, when we apply these commandments, that makes you grow. You know what I'm saying? One commandment makes you keep another, keep another, keep another, keep another. You know, so all praises to the Creator Yahweh. Anyone else with a Hallel Yah?
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
I would like to say hello, y'all. Give it all honor, all praise, all glory to the Most High. So I'd like to say hello, y'all, for just like I said last week, giving me another year of life, turn 23. So thank you, y'all, for that. Another revolution around. So on my actual birthday, it's kind of crazy. Like sometimes I guess you have those years where you don't really do that much on your birthday and stuff. Like you might stay home, it might be cool or whatever. You might get a little birthday cake at the end or what have you. But I don't know. Like I enjoyed it. I just stayed home. You know what I'm saying? People were just sending me happy birthday shout outs and stuff like that. But I'm on my way to my parents' house towards the end of the day. Me and Suki over there, and I wasn't really expecting much. Like I know I had a package that I ordered a while ago. So I was like, okay, happy birthday, birthday gift to myself from like 2 weeks ago when I ordered it. But like, I get there, say what's up to my mom and everything, and my Amy, and she takes me back into my old room that I used to sleep in, and it's like this Yamaha piano sitting in there waiting for me. So I'm like, oh, like so because what happened? I had an old little $95 piano that I got like 2 years ago or something like that, but I just left it somewhere. I didn't really care about it that much. But it's this nice piano. I'm like, okay. So she was like, her and Avi and my grandmother chipped in to get it for me. So I felt thankful for that. And then, Suki, I had, took me to Walmart and let me just run around. I didn't go crazy or anything like that. I with the staffs and everything like that, I don't know if I said this before, my grandfather used to make staffs, like Hebrew engraved staffs and stuff like that. He was really, really good at it. And I remember being young and like in my old backyard where there was a bunch of trees and the branches was always falling, and he would just say, hey, go get that branch over there. I would get it, I would give it to him, he would smash it. I'm like, why'd you smash it? I'm like, that shows it wasn't sturdy enough. If I did it, it would have been a weak branch and stuff like that. So he kind of showed me how to pick the right ones. If it got a nice little sound to it, if you drop it, it sounds like it's not hollow on the inside. So during the week, actually at Walmart on my birthday, I went and got a sander and a Dremel, just like the ones that you used to use and stuff like that. From when I remember being like 10, 11, 12 years old, and like got a bunch of trees with my parents' house a couple days later. I got some branches using those same methods. I was like stomping on them, like hitting them, not too hard, hitting them. Yeah, this one's good. I'm gonna use this one. So I got a bunch of staffs, and I just feel like good. Thank you most high for that. Just letting me kind of run through memory lane and kind of just remember some stuff. And when you get older, you kind of just look back on years past and just looking forward to the future. And as a last sort of hallelujah, hope everyone is ready for the new wave. We're gonna be in here with the cameras a lot more often. There's gonna be some movie stars in here and stuff. But no, but in all seriousness, though, just from a few things being more like I talked about, I just feel good that I always feel excited to come here, and I always feel excited to give these highlights, to give these presentations. Feel obligated to come out to the Shabbat. I feel obligated to hold it down, and I feel obligated to represent the culture, to wear the fringes every day, and it feels good. It doesn't feel like a burden. I don't know if at any point it may have felt like a burden to anyone for whatever reason, not to cry or anything like that, but just for me, it feels good. And if you kind of sort of take pride in that service to the Most High, it's very rewarding. And I just always had that sort of sense, even if at a high or at a low, always had pride in this whole thing. So just look forward to everything like that. We're gonna build, we're gonna grow, and let's hope that the Most High with us to wherever.
Hallelujah.
All praise. All praise to the Creator for doing your part. Do your part. If your brother ain't got his fringes on, you make sure you have yours on. Right? Let them know, hey, bro, come on. We ain't gotta go crazy on each other. Come on, man. Get it right, get it right. All praises. Anyone else with a hallelujah?
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
So I just came from. I told everybody, but I told some of the others. I just came from meeting with the brother that had the issue of I don't know about belief, but what version is this and religion and all this sort of thing. His belief and so forth. This had about a 2-hour meeting with him. Just came off of that, and it went really well. The opportunity, of course, I prayed that the opportunity went well to discuss what he believed, what misnomers or et cetera, or to give him a little bit of understanding about what I believe and things of that nature. And it went really well by his own confession. You know what I mean? But I also believe it went well. And as I had told you guys previously, that he sounds like what he believes, what he feels like he believes personally, what he feels like his ruach is telling him, are our tenants. You know what I mean? I'm some things, how do I bring it all around full circle? You know what I mean? And so we had a really good conversation. He asked me questions, about things that I guess maybe were problems for him. And of course, I tied it all back into Torah. And I brought it all back around to, where it started and where it could be found and things of that nature. I'll just say this, and that's just my hallelujah. It's just that opportunity to get before this man to speak to him and pray a little bit about him and try to maybe direct some of his thoughts, in the direction of the Most High, right? But one thing that was an issue for him, it was really funny. He was talking about ancient Egypt, about universal law, and then ancient Egypt, Ma'at, and their 42 laws. And he was saying how so many of those laws, they said they predate the Bible, is what he said. And those laws, a lot of them were like our 10 commandments, right? And so that was kind of, it was almost like, aha, he's like, I'm asking this question, nobody can really speak towards them, that scenario. And I was like, okay. And so I said, by your own addition, you believe in the Most High, right? So you believe in the creative things, correct? And he knows our history. We both have military backgrounds in history, historic geography is part of what we had to do and whatnot. So he knows that. I said, yeah, okay, cool. I said, I said, you know about Nimrod, right? You know Nimrod, and he's like, yeah. I'm like, good. I said, well, you do understand, Nimrod's lineage, where he came from, right? And you believe in the creator everything, correct? I said, well, then it stands to reason then that the same thing that his forefathers believed, which was the Most High, which I believe, taught him. Now, when he gets grown and go off, like, our kids that get grown up in their own thing, and you can't control that. I said, well, he would have known the tenets. I said, he would have known the tenets. I said, you heard the Noahide laws? The same, I read it down. I said, so it stands to reason why you go to these mystery Babylon. And you will find tenets in what we believe, because that your own self-admission, it's the same creator. And the pinnacle was there. I said, so he was like, man, you know what? You're right. I was like, absolutely. It's more crazy. I said, they stole from us. I mean, they created it, and he was like, man, he's like, he's right. And he had already studied. And so when he heard me, he thought I was going to fly off the handle. He talking and started screaming and yelling at, you know what I mean? Right. He didn't know that I was going to come at him. I was coming from a point of scholarship, a point of study, a point of reasoning logic. He thought it's just our belief, and there's nothing outside of this, when clearly other people believe other things, and where did it come from? Right. So it was like giving him something that was reasonable, that he could actually chew on and say, wow, and then tie it back into the Most High that we serve. He was pretty much elated. He was like, man, okay. And I think it gave him a point of trust in what I had to say a little bit more. So at any rate, it was like that though. It was things that he taught to other people that he couldn't get answers, or he wasn't one answer, or they just didn't know. And the Most High gave me the opportunity to sit in front of me and be able to answer questions that he hadn't previously been able to answer. So that's my hallelujah. Hopefully, by the grace of the Most High, I don't know the Most High's plans, but I hope to see him rolling up in here. Hope to see him rolling up in here at some point in time in the future with the seeking heart and I guess how I look or perspective on what he thinks. If he ever does get hold of the Most High's word, the actual word, he's going to realize that what he already believes are within the tenets of our faith. With instruction. You know what I mean? So that's my hallelujah.
Hallelujah. For the Most High, presenting people alive that we can and show them the way. Now, like I said, it's up to the Creator to say, show them exactly the way and bring them on forward and do what they're supposed to be doing. All praises to the Most High, y'all. But I told you, right, anyway. I told you I could have handled that body out stuff. But anyway,
hey, no, it's going to
come. Yeah. It's going to come. Yeah, I have faith that it's gonna work itself out. Okay. All praise. Anyone else want to hallelujah? Yes. We can go ahead and get with the Torah portion. Who read the Torah portion this week? Okay. All right. It's very interesting. Who studied the portion this week? Went over the words, looked at the words, asked yourself a couple of questions on it. Hold on, why? I just saw that. Why? Hold up. I didn't see that last time. You know, so hopefully everyone got something out of the Torah portion. But Moray's gonna come on up and get it in. All right. Moray Malak. Israel.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
And Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Everybody told me, okay? All right, good. I gotta tell you, very, very, very excited about this week's portion. There's every year we do Berashit, right? There's always so much to cover. It seems like it takes us forever to get out of Berashit. Only because there's always something to grab out of it. You know what I mean? Just for everybody's awareness, I did go ahead and put a PDF up. All right, for everybody to follow along with if you want to. That's in there as well. And what I would ask is that, you know, as we kind of go through this, if you got questions that's kind of long-winded, just write it down for me. And then after that, you know what I'm saying, after we finish, I'll tackle those questions. All right. But if it's something that's short and quick to the point, no sweat, you know what I'm saying, let's address it. Let's keep it. All right. But before we get started, right, you know, what do you know about Berashit? Like, what does Berashit mean to you? Like, you know, you got this thing about creation, and then, you know, from then on, you know, it kind of takes off after that, right? So what does Berashit, you know, what does that mean to you? What I can.
In a beginning.
Okay.
Or, it's the beginning of something.
The beginning of something.
Yeah.
Okay.
The beginning of something.
Not necessarily the beginning, but in a beginning. All right. I got you. What else? Go ahead, Aki.
One thing that jumped out at me was sort of the different ways you can look at the first few verses in Genesis 1, chapter 1.
Okay.
And it's like the understanding of it being chaos. So like the darkness, it was like chaotic and stuff like that, and different. Rather than deep, it's like an understanding of like a swirling, like a what's the word? Like you would imagine like a typhoon, like a depth to it. So like maybe a different visual understanding than upon the face of the deep. Like I look at it as chaos and chaotic sort of thing.
Gotcha. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Before we actually get into reading Berashit, I want us to go back to something real quick from Deuteronomy chapter 32. Something from the Song of Moshe. All right. And I really want to put, you know, it's really good because I want to go ahead and put things in perspective. As we, you know, we kind of approach the Torah season this year. You know, oftentimes, like, you know, Morey Kazak would say, like, you know, how many people like actually see themselves in the scriptures, right? You see yourself in the scriptures, and if we kind of capture the pervasive thoughts in Berashit, then it goes a very, very long way. All right. So really quick, go to I'm gonna read Deuteronomy 31:30, but everybody go to Deuteronomy 32 and verse 10. We'll capture 10 and 11. All right. I'm gonna read 31:30, but everybody go to Deuteronomy 32, 10 and verse 11. All right. And 31:30 reads on this wise. And Moshe spoke in the ears of all the congregation of Israel the words of this song until they were ended. All right. Deuteronomy 32 and 10.
Chapter 32, verse 10. He found him in a desert land, and in the waste howling wilderness. He led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye.
Okay, it says that he found him in a desert land and in the waste and howling wilderness. Who did he find? Yisrael, right? and the people of Israel. All right. So let's just capture this thought, right? It says that he found him in the desert land and waste, howling wilderness, right? That word in Hebrew right there for waste is ubatopu, right? And this is one of the, the first series of words or, things that we're going to capture in the language, right? And I just want to kind of highlight the parallels of the creation story, right? And how the Most High nurtured, and, he really took care of creation, right? Brought forth some really good things out of creation, okay? From nothing to something. Everybody follow what I'm saying? From nothing to something. And then he says he kept him as the apple of his eye. Okay? He's shown, right? That's the word that's used for apple. All right? And pretty much what that means is like let's just say a primordial darkness. All right? So think about this concept, right? Israel found in a place, right? Called by name, sprouted up, taken care of, nurtured, the whole nine. Creation. As the Most High spake, it came to be. Berashit. Everybody follow what I'm saying so far? So keep that in mind, right? And read 32:11.
32:11. As an eagle stirs up her nest, broods over her young, speeds abroad her wings.
Right there, right? As an eagle, right, stirs up her nest and fluttereth, right? Same word that's kind of used for hovered. All right? Same word that's used there. And the Ruach of Elohim hovered over the face of the deep. Everybody remember that? You know what I'm saying? We'll cover that when we read. All right? And the Ruach of Elohim hovered over the face of the deep. All right? Keep that in mind. Okay? And, you'll notice that all throughout the Tanakh, right? Yisrael is likened to so many things. Likened unto trees. Some places likened unto water. Likened unto life. Likened unto so many different things, right? All right? You're supposed to be a life. You're supposed to be a source of living water. The Most High calls water to spring forth from the earth, right? And bring forth all these different elements of life. Okay? All right. So I just want to, I kind of want to start it with that icebreaker. I want you to keep that in mind as we bring out some of the key points in the portion this afternoon. All right. So Berashit chapter 1. Let's go ahead and go. Berashit chapter 1, verse 1.
Sefer Berashit, commonly called the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Reads on this wise. When Elohim began to create heaven and earth, the earth being unformed and void, with darkness over the surface of the deep, and the wind from Elohim sweeping over the water, Elohim said, "Let there be light." And there was light. Elohim saw that the light was good, and Elohim separated the light from the darkness.
All right, so real quick, right? From darkness, right? Talk about the institution of light. All right. Now, if you go back into the Haftorah, right? It kind of uses some of this same imagery, same language, okay? And then, it kind of gets to, discussing, through the prophet, it kind of talks about Israel's mission as far as what they're supposed to do, what we're supposed to be to other people, a source of light, okay? Keep that in mind. Proceed, Bucky.
And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there came to be evening, there came to be morning, one day. And Elohim said, "Let an expanse come to be in the midst of the waters, and let us separate the waters from the waters." And Elohim made the expanse and separated the waters which were under the expanse from the waters which were above the expanse. And it came to be so. And Elohim called the expanse heavens. There came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the second day. And Elohim said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together, and let the dry land appear. And it came to be so. And Elohim called the dry land earth, and the collection of the waters he called seas. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth grass, the plant that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth. And it came to be so. And the earth brought forth grass, the plant that yields, whose seed is in itself. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the third day. And Elohim said, let lights come to be in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and appointed times, and let them be for lights in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth.
These lights are supposed to be for signs, for Moedim, for Yamim, right? Days, years, right? These particular lights. It doesn't really go into like, the case specifics of what these lights are. Because, mind you, we're not necessarily talking about the sun, the moon, and the stars yet. I'm not saying that's not what it is. That's just not what we're reading yet. Everybody follow what I'm saying? All right? Go ahead, Akeem.
And Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars. And Elohim set them in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And Elohim saw that it was good. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the fourth day.
I got a question. So it's the fourth day. Anybody can answer this question, right? Why isn't Elohim going back and forth with another power?
Huh?
What do you mean, huh?
He said, why is he going?
No, I said, why is he not? Right? Think about it. So it's all, so think about this phrase, right? Most High says, you know what? Besides me, there is no other power.
Right.
Right? And think about some of the conversations we kind of have like about idols and other gods and so on and so forth. And maybe, even amongst, some different conversation, people maybe even talk about like the devil. You follow what I'm saying? But there doesn't seem to be any going back and forth with anything here. Right?
Okay.
The Most High speaks
It's commanded.
and it comes to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everything is ruled by a system of government. Right? And I'm using that word just for the sake of our understanding, right? The sun has a law. The moon has a law. The stars have a law. The waters, they don't go past a certain part of the beach. Never. Right? This is the heavens and the earth. So right in the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. A lot of times when we get down to the discourse about, Am Yisrael, what are the two witnesses that are always spoken of?
Heaven and earth.
Give ear, O heavens and earth.
Right.
Why them?
Because they were from the beginning.
They were from the beginning. They don't have no reason, they follow their function.
Yeah.
Right? They were designed, they were made for a very told purpose. Right? The Most High put a lot of care into that, right? Now, here's the thing. Check this out. That same amount of care is the same amount of care that the Creator expresses for you. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I put precious word into you. Right? This is what is in your DNA. I took you from nothing. Now you are something. Everybody following what I'm saying?
Okay.
All right. So see if I can.
And Elohim said, let the waters teem with shoals of living beings, and let birds fly above the earth on the face of the expanse of the heavens. And Elohim created great sea creatures and every living being that moves, with which the waters teemed, according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim blessed him, saying, be fruitful in peace, and let the birds increase on the earth. There came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the fifth day. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth the living being according to its kind, livestock and creeping creatures and beasts of the earth according to its kind. And it came to be so. And Elohim made the beasts of the earth according to its kind, livestock according to its kind, all that creep on the earth according to its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over all the creeping creatures that creep on the ground. And Elohim created the man in his image. In the image of Elohim, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And Elohim blessed them. And Elohim said to them, be fruitful and increase, and fill the earth, and subdue it, and rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over all creeping creatures on the earth. Elohim said, see, I have given you every plant that yields seed, which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed. To you it is for food.
See that right there? No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Question, right? Okay, question. No, I say I'm about to pose a question. It's got a very, very stringent job, right? So be fruitful, be multiplied, and have dominion over everything that, pretty much touches the face of the earth, right? Check this for food. Well, what tree out there don't yield seed? That doesn't.
Well, the ones they generated today in the factory don't have any seed.
I got what you're saying. I'm asking that. I'm asking that question for a reason. All right. And it's namely to kind of elicit, like how are we to understand, the method of consumption for humans at that time, like what they're eating, what they're not supposed to eat, like how are we to understand that? All right. But the key point is that every tree yielding seed, right? That which produces life. You're not just gonna eat some grass. You know what I'm saying? You can't just eat grass, or just get you a couple of leaves off a tree and make a sandwich. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work like that, right? But that which is good for food. Okay. Let's see.
And to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the heavens, and to every creeping creature on the earth, in which there is a living being, every green plant is for food. And it came to be so. And Elohim saw all that he had made, and see, it was very good. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the sixth day.
So by the sixth day, he sees everything that he's made, said that it's Tov Mayo, right? And mind you, this is after the creation of man, right? Tov Mayo. So we just kind of follow the context of what we're reading. All right, everything's created. Well, follow me. You know what I'm saying? This is where we kind of get into some textual criticism, right? Because a lot of times we might approach it and say, hey, look, well, we read everything chronologically, right? And we couldn't for certain say that everything happened in a chronological manner. You understand what I'm saying? That would be nice, but if you approach it from, let me just say, a different standpoint, okay? Because it almost sounds like two different stories. Chapter 1 has a backdrop, and then chapter 2 kind of goes into all these different details. Okay? So, just providing a perspective, you know what I'm saying, as we continue to study. All right? Let's see.
Chapter 2. Thus the heavens and the earth were completed in all their array. And in the seventh day, Elohim completed his work which he had done. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. Right? And Elohim blessed the seventh day, set it apart, because on it he rested from all his work which Elohim in creating had made.
So what makes the seventh day different from the first day? I mean, I got you. Yeah, he rested on that day. But I mean, the first day was good too.
But he didn't create
Hmm?
anything. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's what I meant. He said,
I got you. But my question is, what makes the seventh day unique from the first day? There you go. It's the only day in creation that has a blessing attached to it. Right?
Right.
So, you find yourself in a discourse with somebody, you're talking about it. Well, what's so different about your Sabbath and my Sabbath?
Come on,
You know what I'm saying? Well, here's the difference.
Right.
The seventh day, right? It's the only day with a blessing attached to it. The seventh day was sanctified as Kodesh, right? 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, and in the seventh day, right, cease from that and enjoy the blessing. You know how many patterns in the Tanakh follows that same pattern? 6 years, sow the field. In the seventh year, what do? Enjoy the rest, right? Even the same thing down to what? Maybe even servitude. In the seventh year is the year of what? Release. 6 years, this person has did what they had to do. In the seventh year, they get to go out, enjoy the Sabbath, right? Now, let's take this same concept, right? How would we apply this same concept towards how we kind of function today? You follow what I'm saying? Just the function, the principle of 6 days shall you labor and do all your work. And in the seventh day, cease from that work and enjoy the blessing. Just something to think about. All right? Go ahead.
Actually, that's essentially the perspective. Aside from we work 6 days a week, we work 6 days a week and then 7 is off. In terms of planning, in terms of working with purpose. Now, money through working with purpose to see on the day of rest the fruits of what you've done all week, i.e., planning from the beginning of the week to a rest. You know what I mean? I'm saying how do we apply that? We sit down and literally plan our lives so we work with purpose, so that by the time we get to rest, we see the results of what we did for that week, whether it was saving, whether it was a project, whatever it is, that when you rest, you can look back on it and we can see what I've done. You know what I mean? Right. You know what I mean? Opposed to just living every day and then resting on Saturday.
And you know what? Even the tithing system, right? 3-year tithe, 6-year tithe. And in 7 years, what happens in the 7th year? You enjoy it, right? Everything comes into the storehouse, right? You know who that's regarded for, who's supposed to take care of that? And in the 7th year, right? The fatherless, the orphans, the widows, right? Everybody's taken care of, right? All of that's embedded in the principle of 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, and in the 7th day, enjoy the blessing. Okay? All right. So, see.
These are the births of the heavens and the earth when they were created, in the day that Yahuwah Elohim made earth and heavens. Now, no shrubs of the field was yet on the earth, and no plant of the field had yet sprung up, for Yahuwah Elohim had not sent rain on the earth. And there was no man to till the ground, but a mist went up from the earth and watered the entire surface of the ground. And Yahuwah Elohim formed the man out of the dust from the ground and breathed into his nostril breath of lives, and the man became a living being. And Yahuwah Elohim planted a garden in Eden to the east, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground, Yahuwah Elohim made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight.
So real quick, right? Back to the song of Moshe. Found you in the desert and wasteland, howling wilderness, right? And he formed you. And he called you by name. The man who he formed called him by name. Right? Now, let's get down to this function real quick. So see.
Verse 9. And out of the ground, Yahuwah Elohim made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, with the tree of life in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it divided and became 4 riverheads. The name of the first is Pishon. It is the one surrounding the entire land of Hawilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. Bdellium is there, and the Shoham stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. It is the one surrounding the entire land of Cush. And the name of the third river is Kedekel. It is the one which goes toward the east of Asher. And the fourth river is the Euphrates. Yahuwah Elohim took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to work it and to guard it. Yahuwah Elohim commanded the man, saying, Eat of every tree of the garden, but do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For in the day that you eat of it, you shall certainly die. And Yahuwah Elohim said, It is not good for the man to be alone. I am going to make a helper for him as his counterpart. And from the ground, Yahuwah Elohim formed every beast of the field. And
so that term, right? Is there connecto? All right, for those of us that was in the Hebrew class earlier, for those of us that were in the Hebrew class earlier, right? Is there connecto? And it's it's what English would translate as a help me, right? Now, what's interesting about this word, right? Nagad or connecto, as it's kind of conjugated. This is a something that stands in opposition to, right? Not in a demoralizing manner, right? But in his way or in his purpose. But in his way or in his purpose, right? Rationalize, right? Provide insight. Everybody follow what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, and a lot of times, if we kind of follow this theme, right? Nashim, I'm gonna say the what we call kokma, right, has a feminine characteristic that's implied with it, right? Wisdom was in the beginning, right? And anytime we kind of talk about wisdom, right, wisdom is always referred to as a woman, right? So it's like the Nashim, let them be your wisdom in the subject matter. That's what she was created to do. And here's the thing. Man was formed, right? Hawa was made. Why weren't they both just formed? Right? It said that she was Bana, being, whatever you want, however you want to pronounce it. She was made. Okay? She was made skillfully. Think about it. Nashim, they adapt to a lot of different things. Right? What's it called? The sixth sense? Intuition? Is that? No, that's y'all seventh sense, right? Intuition is just something that's always there. They know, right? They can see the wisdom in the matter. Okay? That's how they were made. They were made to function in that manner, to help, right? In opposition, not as a tool of obstruction, but in opposition as a tool of wisdom. Okay? Can you read it? That's why, one more point, that's why whoever finds a wife finds a good thing. You follow me? Okay. Go ahead, Keith.
And from the ground Yahuwah Elohim formed every beast of the field and every bird of the heavens and brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called each living being, that was its name. So the man gave names to all livestock and to the birds of the heavens and to every beast of the field. But for the man there was not found a helper for him as his counterpart. So Yahuwah Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall on the man, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place.
Right? So the word Tesla, right? Tesla. Okay? This word means chamber, right? Chamber. So he takes a woman from a rib of Adam, right? Now, what do ribs do? They protect all the vital organs, right? That's what they do. Okay? Before you can get to the lungs, the liver, the pancreas, and all this kind of stuff that's up in here, right? You got to get through a few ribs, right? Ribs don't really break easy, okay? Unless you just kind of trying to break them, but you know. And I just want to think about the function, right? All right. Now I want to let's apply that to her function. Right? She's made a certain type of way. So she might be like, hey, look, however they say it, you might not want to do that. They might say some sly, redirect your attention, right? That's what she made to do. Okay? All right.
So Yahuwah Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall on the man, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. And the rib which Yahuwah Elohim had taken from the man, he made into a woman, and he brought her to the man. And the man said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This one is called woman, because she was taken as a man. For this cause a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, yet they were not ashamed.
Why not? Why not? Really? They didn't know? You don't think so? Go ahead, Emo.
There was nothing to be ashamed of.
Nothing to be ashamed of. Right? So 2 questions, right? One, what does that say about the intellect of Adam and Hawa prior to an event that we're going to read later? Okay. And 2, well, I'll save that. I'll save that. All right. So see for though.
Chapter 3. And the Nakash was more.
Wait, I wanna go back to something real quick that I didn't bring out. What was man's primary function? Right? What was his primary duty and primary function? So let's try to get a marker for that. Thank you. So let's do this right here, right? This driver.
Yeah, make sure.
Man. Woman. What was man's primary function? To work?
Till the ground.
To till the ground?
It says in the Garden of Eden to dress it and keep it.
So those 2 words, right? Serve and protect. Abad, right? Shamar. So let's do this. Serve and protect. Woman, how was she made? What was her primary function?
Be his helpmate.
Help me.
To be his wisdom.
Counterpart.
Like that, counterpart. Now we're learning about function. Right? Adam, serve and protect. Isha, That's what she's called. She's called Isha because he named her woman. All right, it doesn't say he named her Kawah. See, that comes later. And we'll get to the point I'm going to make about that throughout the text. But like everything has to have a meaning, right? If she's called, well, we'll get there. We'll get there. I don't want to get there right now. But keep this in mind right here, right? The nation of Israel, your job is to
Serve and protect.
serve and protect, right? Through wisdom. Okay? Which is why the Nashim in our nation, right? Which is why they're so important. Which is why the Tanakh might say something like, hey, look, don't cause the daughters of Israel to become harlots, right? Because what do? You degrade, you know what I'm saying, your existence. Now, you do a lot of different things when you don't nurture dysfunction. When you don't do what you're supposed to do, right? You don't facilitate, I'm just going to say, the cycle of life to function as it's supposed to function. Everybody follow what I'm saying? We'll read the Haftorah later, right? And I bring some key points out of that, you know what I'm saying, that we should probably take a look at. You know, these things are repetitive throughout the scripture. They're repetitive. They're said over and over and over and over again, right? Anything that's important to not is always said more than once, right? Okay, let's go. Now, hold on. You know what? Think about something. Why don't he have another job? Okay, let's put it like this, right? You know how we want to do everything other than what we're supposed to do?
Yeah.
Right? No. Your DNA structure is this, right? You want to do everything. I'm talking about this right here, right? But through this parallel, why isn't Adam told to do anything else?
Yeah. He didn't go at this point in time, he didn't transgress against the Most High. So everything is working in his favor.
Okay. He didn't transgress against the Most High. Now, this is categorically, right? This is one person in the Gan Adam said to have, you need to serve, you need to protect what I have given you. I've given you dominion over this, over other facets of creation, right? Guard it with your life. Take care of it. Take care of the things that's in your possession, to include this woman. You take care of her, she gonna take care of you. You don't take care of her, she's not gonna take care of you. Right? Your service, your protection is also your wisdom. Oh, let it be so. So, woman, she is a wonderful creation of the Creator.
Amen. Amen.
Wonderful creation of the Creator. We got to treat her as such. There's so many different labels and titles that, you know, we kind of go by, except for the ones that are kind of rooted in the function from the very, very beginning. Okay? All right. Proceed,
Perek Shalosh, chapter 3. And the Nakash was more crafty than all the lives of the field.
What is a Nakash?
It's a serpent.
Okay. So let's look at it. Right? Nakash. All right, the word Nakash, okay? When you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, right? Let's do this. Let's first. It means to hiss, whisper. When somebody whispers, right? What do they normally do?
Keep it a secret. Hide something.
Saying something they shouldn't be saying.
Saying something they probably shouldn't be saying. All right? Okay. To hiss, to whisper, right? Even if you look at that word Nakash, it talks about divination and enchanting. But you notice the concept of Nakash, it didn't rebel against the Creator. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. So what is that? It says now the Nakash, right, was more subtle than any beast of the field. Now, mind you, at this point, everything is functioning in its what? In its purpose. Everything is what? So by the sixth day, everything was
Told Mayo.
Told Mayo. Told Mayo could also kind of, right, function. Right?
Very functional.
So if something is functional, what does that mean?
It's working the way it should.
It's working the way that it should.
Right.
The way it's designed to work.
Right.
So let's keep that in mind. Right? Now keep reading. Everything is functional.
Okay.
Read.
And the Nakash was more crafty than all the lives of the field, which Yahweh Elohim had made. And he said to the woman, is it true that Elohim has said, do not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said to the Nakash, we are to eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden.
What's wrong with this picture?
The man is not there.
Well, we don't know where he's at. You know what I'm saying? That's a good inference. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say with context, but we don't know where he's at. It kind of just goes into the Nakash is speaking, right? So on and so forth. And this is what it's saying. All right? We don't know where the man is. But if I had to get a lesson from it, you need to stay close to your woman at all times. You follow me? You need to stay close to your woman at all times. Because now what's happening is a different type. When I say a different way of thinking, let me rephrase this. If you got a way to walk, right? It's kind of like, how the Most High talks about the nation. I put you on a path, right? I need you to stay on this path, right? But somebody says, well, you could do this right here. You could walk this way. You could do it this way, right? That may not be what's functional, okay? What's functional is I need you right here for this purpose. What's over here in this lane, that's for somebody else, something else for that purpose, right? AKA, you don't really see lions acting like hyenas.
No.
They'd be out of their function.
Right.
They'd be out of their character. Matter of fact, they don't even hang out. And when they do meet, you know what I'm saying? There's drama. You follow what I'm saying? There's drama with that. Keep it in mind. So now, if I have to focus, if we're going to focus on one word, focus on function. Function. All right? Tosi.
And the woman said to the Nakash, we are to eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, do not eat of it, nor touch it, lest you die. And the Nakash said to the woman, you shall certainly not die.
I know.
He didn't tell her. He did lie. Keep reading.
For Elohim knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes shall be opened.
I thought their eyes was already open.
Already, that's right. Already on.
I thought so now check it out. He got to be a very intelligent man.
Say it again.
Right? To name the animals, right? We don't know. It doesn't tell us what he was taught in between time. How to till the ground, how to take care of stuff, how to nurture a woman, right? How to take care of a woman, how to be obedient, right? But, here's something is introduced, right? Something is introduced. I'm gonna just say that. Something is introduced. I was watching this movie. It's called Smallfoot. Seen that movie? And the guy, he takes the, they talking about these stones and all this other kind of stuff, right? And the guy's like, hey, look, the chief person of the Yetis. That's what they call it, Yetis. He was like, the only thing greater than fear is curiosity. The only thing stronger than fear is curiosity. Right? Curiosity did what to the cat? Kill the cat.
Get head off.
You know what I'm saying? But, my people, you know what? I ain't gonna do that. Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, when you said about the process that you won't die. So, I don't know. My thought process of that is, not immediately, but you look in the conscious view that if they transgress the Most High, that death would enter. So in a sense, what I'm saying is, he knew that they would die. Just she's probably thinking right now, but he understood the greater picture. And now, correct me, I'm saying in my thought process, he knows, well, you're gonna die if you eat this. It's just not only today, but you're gonna introduce that. Okay. So correct me if I'm off there. You know what I mean?
Well, Adam goes on to live how many years? 30, right? But if we want to, this kind of gives rise to. Now we need to, maybe in another lesson we can deal with the concept of life and death. Follow what I'm saying? Because the body returns back to the ground. The spirit, you know what I'm saying? What's good? So we can get into the concept of life and death. What's living? What's dying? You understand what I'm saying? So we can tackle on those things. But I got you. You had a question?
His eyes was open. His eyes was only open to life. His eyes wasn't open to things.
Okay. Now, in the half Torah, right? You supposed to, the prophet says, you know what? You got to open the eyes of the blind, help the deaf to hear and understand. Why? Because the facet of life has been planted in you, right? I'm telling you, Most High did a good work with us as a people, which is why you can see why, the language is so strong when you go give your attention to something else that is nothing. I'll say this. An idol is nothing more than the attention you give.
Dang.
It's nothing more than the attention you give it. I got you, Mo. I'm gonna say this. When I read things that the prophets say, let's take the prophet Yirmiyahu, right? He's like, those things are nothing. They don't breathe. They can't see.
That's right.
They can't even protect themselves from rust and corrosion.
Hallelujah. Come on.
You know what I'm saying? So, what is idolatry?
Come on.
Other than what you make it.
Come on.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
Say that.
So if we're dealing with it, you know what I'm saying? Guess what you're dealing with? You're dealing with self.
Yourself. Come on.
That's right. That's right.
That means your spirit has become disloyal. Shema Yisrael, right? Jehovah Yahweh, Eloheinu, the Most High, your Elohim is one. Love is loyalty, right? This man, your function, right, is to continue to be loyal to the Creator. You can't watch the trees grow up right? You can't monitor. I'm just saying, monitor the things that's within your domain. That takes a lot of. Can anybody here go be a zookeeper? Could you go do that?
Not off that.
Not off back, right?
Take training.
Taught.
You feel what I'm saying? So I don't want to diminish what Adam's or Adam's knowledge was during the beginning. I don't want to diminish that at all. You follow me? But this concept of curiosity, it does something to us. It takes us in places that it may not be functional for you. You follow what I'm saying? It may not be functional. People can say things are good, bad, whatever the case may be, but is it functional? Okay? Eva.
Well, I was thinking what you said about, living from the time that we're born naturally, at this point we begin to die. We lose cells regenerate. So we're having life and death. So we're having life and death all the time.
All the time.
So now the natural process is that you're regenerated, which includes dying. But in the garden, when he's dressing and keeping, would there have been like decaying of plant matter decay? That's where you get compost from. So would that have been a natural process at that point?
I don't know. It doesn't tell us. You know what I'm saying? What I do know is at this point everything is
Good.
functional. It's told mayo. That's what I know. So if things is told mayo, that means they doing whatever they supposed to do, whatever that is. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I'm gonna train my mind like this, right? If things is told me, if things are told mayo, my eyes aren't even trained to really look for what's not. It's kind of like the eye, ain't no stabbing. Right? It's kind of like always looking for the curses. So long as you functional, right? And you function within your purpose. Life is told mayo. You living. Right? You're living. So to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know if decay and all those kind of things might have been a thought to even have at that time.
Because if they're having bananas, they got banana skins. That makes good compost.
The bananas probably grew without skins. They probably was just just straight off the preserved good. I don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't say yes or nay. Yay or nay, but just think of it as something that's it's just good. It's good. It's good. Right? All right. You got a question, Aki? Okay. Toast.
For Elohim knows, and the Nakar said to the woman, you shall certainly not die. For Elohim knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be like Elohim, knowing Tov and Ra, good and evil.
So in your PDF, you put a small excerpt in there about Elohim as gods in the Tanakh. All right, and when you get some time, just read that. Okay. I would say that one thing that's kind of unique about the opening of Bereshit is that you can just respond in there. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't if something comes up, just let me know. You can respond in there, right? Watch this, right? Elohim can be used for a lot of different things in the Tanakh. Judges, demons, rulers, right? A lot of different things can carry the name Elohim. Yah is an Elohim, but there is no other Elohim that is Yah. You know what I'm saying?
So to be clear on what you're saying, considering that tense is a plural tense, we're not referencing it as a plural because there's one power that we're referring to, whereas these other entities that you introduced before, you said that in the Most High can be in a plural, and most of the times are because you're talking about a body of different, whether they're idols or whatever the case may be. Just one clarity on what
Right. And I'll even go so far as to say this, right? Elohim is not. it should not be used as a substitute for God in the concept of it relating to the Most High. Yeah, like you know, that's not really how the text structures it, right? Like if you kind of, I would encourage everybody, right? This is why I say, culture through language is very, very important. You follow what I'm saying? Like, and I really, these thoughts, it's not even in the same court when you get to, I'm just gonna say some Edenic ways of thinking, right? Yah is an Elohim, but no other Elohim compares or is Yah. It's just not, right? But if we kind of get down to the nuts and bolts of what this describes, right? It may describe attributes, but not necessarily a sphere of existence.
Elohim.
Right.
Okay.
Because think about it. Judges, they can be described as Elohim, but they got power to make decisions. Right? Shadim, you know what I'm saying? They're kind of described as Elohim. But that's a different, I don't want to say authority, but that's a different segment in itself. Right? So just in your own time, study about that. All right? Study about that word. Look at what it, just look at it throughout the Tanakh. All right? Go ahead.
So, ask a question. Elohim is plural. Elohim makes it plural. So when you speak of Elohim, and you're speaking of the Most High, it's the Elohim. He's saying it's more than me than you understand. There's that's the best I can put it. There's more than me. There's intricate parts to me that means plural, but one.
I have so many different powers and things that I'm capable of doing, but it's just me.
That's the best I can explain that to you, brother.
I understand.
Because he goes along and says that us.
Mm-hmm.
So just think about that. All right. Just want to make sure we all clear on that. Okay. You had a question, you want?
No, I had a statement.
Okay, go ahead.
Very quick.
Real quick.
I had saw where they had GODS with the little g also as Elohim.
Right. So, that kind of gets into some later, I'm going to say transliterations. And you got to remember, like a lot of these things, they come with a different mindset. You follow what I'm saying? So, more on that subject matter later.
No problem.
Okay?
That's why I stopped.
All right, Tosi Faki.
And the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desirable to make one wise. And she took of its fruit and ate. And she also gave to her husband with her, and he ate. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made loin coverings for themselves. And they heard the voice of Yahweh Elohim walking about in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh Elohim among the trees of the garden. And Yahweh Elohim called unto Adam and said to him, where are you? And he said, I heard
Question real quick. At this point, what can you say about the knowledge of Adam and Hawa? What do they know? Huh? You said that they're different beings? Okay. Okay, I got you. All right, I got you. Go ahead, read, Aki. Oh, go ahead, Imam. I'm sorry.
They know how to live.
They know how to live? Okay, they know how to live. Got you. Read.
And he said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, so I hid myself.
Hey, look. After partaking of the tree, why is the first thing that they know is that the fact that they're naked? Said that they were naked earlier, right? And they were not ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
But then he says, I hid because I was naked. What does that say about the knowledge of the tree of Tob and Ra that they partook of? Go ahead.
that there is shame in it.
Shame.
The knowledge of shame.
Knowledge of shame. Okay. 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 Go ahead.
A vessel of temptation.
A vessel of temptation. Now check this out, right? When you feel that way, right? Think about where this takes your mind. When you embrace a thought as such. Let's go back, right? I got you, Aki. Earlier in the story, right? You know, Tanakh makes a point to let us know that they were naked and they weren't ashamed. And I heard everybody say there was nothing to be ashamed of. Right? That means the mind is what?
Pure.
The mind is pure. The mind becomes functional. The inner man is, what is it? Talk to me.
Clean. Told.
Pure, clean,
Clean, wholesome,
Told.
told, functional.
Set apart. Kadesh.
Right? But as soon as they partake of this tree, the first thing that they say, it's not like, oh, I feel sick. Or, oh man, whatever. The first thing that he says when he's called is, I hid because I was naked. Then why does the Most High make a point to ask, well, who told you that?
Who told you? Who you been listening to?
You know what I'm saying? Who told you that? What is that teaching us? Give me Proverbs, Psalms. You read it today? Psalms 1 and 1.
Come on.
Let's read this.
Sefer Tehillim, the book of Psalms, chapter 1, verse 1. Blessed is the man who shall not walk in the counsel of the wrong.
In the counsel of the wrong. Read.
And shall not stand in the path of sinners, and shall not sit in the seat of scoffers. But
So check it out. There was some counsel taking place, right? Some casual conversation. Hey, look, you're not gonna die.
Come on.
Come on now.
You ain't gonna die.
But take the drill.
In fact, you're gonna be smarter.
Come on.
You know what
I'm saying? You know, who don't want to be smart? Limitless, right? You seen the movie Limitless? The guy takes the pill and he can just do everything. His eyes become open. You know what I'm saying? So, what does that teach us? Go ahead, Aki.
I mean, it teaches that whenever you disobey the Creator, you're gonna get that shameful feeling, especially when the outcome, it's not gonna always, never be good when you go against the Creator's word. So that'll give you like a shameful feeling, like you go against God.
Okay.
God's word.
Now check it out, right? The only thing outside of what's told Mayo that's out of function, quote unquote, rebelling against the Creator, is man. Nothing else is operating outside of its function.
Come on. Teach it right now.
Nothing.
Come on.
There couldn't be any other. Well, I'll say this. It doesn't. The text doesn't imply to us that there's any other opposing thought to the Creator other than the faculty of man. Doesn't imply that anything, right? So let's back up. Day 6, everything is told Mayo. Everything that's created is operating in function. Something comes in, starts talking to somebody, to the woman, right? Another segment of counsel. You know what I'm saying? Because another thing about a room is, Yaakov was described as a room. That's what people call him crafty and all that kind of stuff. That kind of go, but prudent, right? When you're prudent about something, right? What do? You kind of drive the point home, right? prudent, you're normally very, very assertive in your prudence. You follow what I'm saying? Now, Iman, what I'm saying is this. Out of everything that's told Mayo to include man and his woman are the only thing at this point that are in opposition to what's told Mayo. They didn't follow instruction. Now, not to diminish our foreparent, but I want to pull out the greater lesson. I believe the greater lesson to this, right? Your thoughts, your mind, your intentions is all you.
Come on.
It's all you. Can't blame it on nobody else. There you go.
Come on.
Accountability.
Starts with self.
It starts with self. So, it's a lot of different questions you can ask about this whole scenario, right? Why, hey, y'all, why we can't just, why we can't just
Do whatever we want.
No, not even do whatever we want, but why we can't, why things just can't be good? Why does that gotta be there?
Yeah, right.
Good and evil,
You know what I'm saying? But nothing worth having is easy.
Why you gotta test this?
You know what I'm saying? I read something that was on the board today. Yaakov strove with man and El and prevailed. Right? I believe that probably was covered on the Shmini Atzedek, right?
Okay.
Becoming loyal, allowing your spirit to become loyal. That's an inner work you gotta work on. You gotta want that. You gotta want it.
Not magic. Come on.
It's not magic.
That's right. Come on.
So when you talking about, now mind you, right? They said they heard the voice. They only heard the voice walking. They heard the voice of Elohim walking. Hence the reason why our primary thing is, listen, guys, Shema.
Shema. That's right.
Right? Didn't tell you to do nothing else. Listen up.
That's right.
Pay attention. Come on.
Pay attention to what's going on.
Come on.
Be mindful.
Okay.
Guard your gates. Why is there such an emphasis on guarding the gates? All right. Y'all's teaching us something. Are we paying attention?
Come on.
All right. Tosifaki.
And he said, who made you know that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree of which I commanded you that you should not eat? And the man said, the woman whom you gave to be with me.
There you go. Now taking accountability.
She gave me of the tree and I ate.
So where does the ability, how does that thought come into mind? I'm just gonna blame her.
Mm-hmm. And Elohim.
Huh?
And Elohim.
The woman you gave me.
Yeah. Yeah. You.
First of all,
Blame shifting.
What's up with that?
Right thing.
See,
Come on.
the white man made us do it.
Come on.
facts.
The serpent is the white man. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Saying the same thing. That daggone devil. But see, nobody is saying, you know what? Yeah, I decided to listen to you are. Real G stand up. You know what I mean? That's how you know you're getting somewhere. When y'all says you could think yourself. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you have been
Preserving and protecting
You know what I'm saying? If you had been doing what you're supposed to be doing,
Come on.
right?
You're all good.
Everything can stay totally yoke. Okay? But when you step out of function, you step out of character, right? This is what this is what can happen. So I would not dare put it on anything or anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, not saying, anything about Adam, but it's like, hey, you know what? You're the reason why I can't be what I'm supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Keep reading.
And the man said, the woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I ate. And Yahweh Elohim said
Why
to
you didn't say no?
All right.
You got instructions?
All right.
Wasn't he the one that was given the instructions, or did he have them both the instructions?
Listen.
That's the key.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you like this, right? The Most High, let's do this. The Most High tell you something. You ain't gonna instruct your wife and children accordingly. You're not gonna make sure everybody know. Now put this in perspective. I don't know what Adam named the animals when he named them. We know what we call them today, but an elephant might have not been called an elephant back then. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But if you got that kind of wisdom, it's got to dawn on you. Hey, look, baby, check it out. I know they look good, but we're going to go over here. Look at these grapes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Look at these grapes right here. Let's leave that alone. You know what I'm saying? Let's stay on the path we supposed to stay on. Buddy.
When your teenagers bring home friends, they know what the rules are.
Mm-hmm.
They're responsible for making sure that their friends know we don't do that in our house if we want to be successful.
You feel me? We don't do that over here. Now, if it seems abrasive for y'all to serve Elohim, that's on you. But as for me, in my crib, it's what we gonna do. You feel me? And we're gonna listen. We're gonna do what's right for our house. And here's the thing, right? That's what works for us. That's what's functional for us. Out of everything we've tried, what works? What's functional for Yisrael?
Obedience.
Education, obedience.
Okay.
Yahweh Elohim said to the woman, what is this you have done? And the woman said, the Nakash deceived me, and I ate. Elohim said to the Nakash, because you have done this, you are cursed more than all livestock, and more than every beast of the field. On your belly you are to go, and eat dust all the days of your life. And I put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall crush your head, and you shall crush his heel. To the woman he said, I greatly increase your sorrow and your conception. Bring forth children in pain, and your desire is for your husband. And he does rule over you. And to the man he said, because you have listened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying, do not eat of it, cursed is the ground because of you. What you are to eat of it all the days of your life. And the ground shall bring forth thorns and thistles for you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you are to eat bread until you return to the ground. For out of it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you return.
Yeah, there was a question that was on the table earlier, and I just want to make sure that everybody understands that Yah took the woman from the man. And we don't say whether he taught her anything. We don't know those answers. But when a servant came to her, she said to him what Yah said to the man. So when Yah steps in the field, Yah says everybody pays the price because everybody knew. So when she took him out of that, gives me the thought, when she took him out of when he gave it to her, that same information went through him. And when you pull him out, she already knew the information that was needed to know. So when the serpent came, she was able to say to him what Yah had said.
Right.
So, and Yah came back and Yah said to them, each one of y'all gonna pay the price because each one of y'all knew. It's like, see, because you didn't know, see, because you knew you paid this price.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Shabbat shalom, Mr. Carl. I love the Berashit. I love it always because there's so much in it. Like, but you said about functioning here, functioning, what works for us. You can speak in this minute, okay, about the information. And if we're going into, we ran through, but we have to understand it was information because it says this tree of the knowledge of good and evil. We still been, I should say, animated through our upbringing about an apple and a snake on a tree. Right. And it's still in our DNA still. We haven't changed that out of us yet. It's still, still hard to spot that it was a brother and a sister in the marketplace, and a brother walked up and told them, hey, let's go over here and get whatever was contrary to the Creator. We have to understand that Adam wasn't no lame. He wasn't soft. He wasn't inadequate. He wasn't incapable of what y'all is perfect. Adam is perfect. That's why we are called B'nai Adam throughout the scripture. They say son of man, but it's B'nai Adam. We are the children of the perfect man, made in the image and likeness of God. So he was well equipped. But like he said, Maria said a minute ago, he made a choice. He didn't follow through. So prove that he is a man. He had decisions to make. What can you do? What do you want to do? He said a minute ago, keep the ways of trade, stay focused. But it also shows the reality of this. Because we take it outside and keep it in the storybook, it's not applicable in our day-to-day activities. So I want to make sure, I heard the information coming out, but I want to make sure this is sinking in because we got Yeladim here, we got people that's new into the understanding coming in, we got young adults coming in, and this persona will walk up on you every day and tempt you. Hey, I know you don't be so-and-so and so-and-so, whatever the case may be. You know what? A little bit won't hurt. Like he might say, his children bring somebody home. They're bringing that influence home. That influence, and then it's not a one-day thing. This didn't happen in one day. Adam and Hawa, that wasn't one day. The story is breaking down for in time's sakes, but we understand this was because he was a powerful man. Not one day, come on, for sake of those time, let's go. We'll be fully believe it was a one-day thing. To come on, it's a process. You've seen it before. I've been there. I ain't picking on my Nasheen, but your Isha can come to you and she'll say, babe, I need a new dress. She'll be like, the money ain't right. Babe, I need a new dress next week. Next week, you be like, no, what? Look, take the ATM card because I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to get this going, but I want to keep you happy as well. That fast, you can put down, now your bill late. Now you got a new dress, but the lights cut off. But I want to say that to you, make sure that we have a reality on the text because this affects us every day. It is real. It's people here. Don't ever try to take people out of this. It was the serpent. The serpent is a person. It's a character described as cunning, crafty, seductive, manipulative. These are the characters of Satan. The serpent, Satan, the devil, whatever you call, or could be your wicked homeboy, your wicked homegirl. So we have to understand this is reality. So I told our about the time I keep, but I saw that. I don't want to get away from that essence of this is risk every day applicable.
Real short. Shabbat shalom. So just to back to the point, when you said that, don't you think that he told her what it was? Mm-hmm. Because she answered the serpent. And it said back in 2:16 and 17, God commanded Adam.
Dang.
Okay, so if he commanded Adam and Eve wasn't there yet, okay, he commanded Adam, you're right. Adam told her, this is what Yah said. So he knew before she knew, and he told her. And when she came to him, he should have told her, like you said, nah, we're not gonna do that.
So that's gonna fall into this right here. Your service and how you protect.
Come on.
It's a big deal. You know what I mean? And it's like one thing that I kind of noticed that's like very pervasive, right? Is it's like the words, you know, these I'll say this, right? These words have got to mean something to you.
Come on.
Right? They gotta mean something to you. So for all intents and purposes, right? We wasn't there during the time of Adam, but what is the Creator saying to us through this?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I'm telling you something, right? It's for your own good. Right?
Dang.
The life of Yisrael, I don't read that it's supposed to be difficult and hard. Now, difficult and hard does exist if that's the kind of bread you like eat.
Say that. Say that.
You know what I'm saying? If you like that, you can get that. Or, you know what I'm saying? You can get these grapes that's the size of your head.
That's sweetness.
You know what I mean? And one other thing, right? It really highlights the nurturing element that marriage should contain. You know, it doesn't really talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But hey, men, anashim, women, nashim. Hey, look, your relationship, y'all gotta be tighter than two coats of paint. That's tight. You know, I got you, Aki. And young men, you know what I'm saying? Like if you of that, you know, these things is a process. You understand what I'm saying? When you taking a wife, that's why it says, you know what, man leaves his mother and his father.
Say that.
And he clings to who? His Isha. Because from his Ima and his Abba, right, he obtained wisdom, he obtained how he should live his life, all of that, right? And his Isha, right, she's supposed to be that functioning balance, right? It's like the way y'all design this thing, it's bulletproof if you do it right. You know what I mean? But that also doesn't mean that things don't take a turn, right? It's all about how we handle what's in front of us. Okay? So I mean, I just, I wanna drive that point home on that.
Make it real.
All right, go ahead, Aki. All right, Tuzi. Go ahead and now.
Real quick, I just want to say, that's one right. Connection is very pertinent because when she spoke, and she told the Nakash, she told the Nakash, like, y'all said we ain't supposed to touch it. So it's very important for us to be close to our significant others and make sure that we're sharing the right information. Because if you share the wrong information from the Creator, that can also be error for a person to manipulate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you said, we stay close with one another. Make sure y'all establish a bond where nobody can go in between that. So if somebody say, yo, this is what she's moving, you be like, I know my wife, she ain't moving like that. You front. You understand what I'm saying? Because y'all know that bond is on a level. So I feel 100%.
So, we got a job to nurture that type of environment. You know what I'm saying? So,
The man called his wife's name Hawa. Mother.
I'm serious. You know what I mean? Earlier it said that, she was called Isha. And after this happened, she's called Hawa. Because she's the mother of all the living. Right? We ain't gonna dig too deep into it. Just let it marinate. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times when people undergo name changes,
Say that.
that means character is changing.
Come on.
Character is changing.
That's right.
Okay? Let's see.
Yahuwah Elohim made coats of skin for the man and his wife and dressed them. Yahuwah Elohim said, see, the man has become like one of us, to know good and evil.
One of who?
One of us.
Maybe they worried about Elohim again.
Open it up, Rob. Open it
All
up.
right. So I mean, and to be honest with you, like if you ever get into like Psalms 82, that kind of gets into the divine counsel. You know what I'm saying, if you will, if you kind of want to go there. But Psalms 82 is a really good book to read. You know what I mean, to capture that type of image. All right. But anyway, Tosi, if I keep.
And now, lest he put out his hand and take also of the tree of life, eat, and live forever. So Yahweh Elohim set him out of Eden to till the ground from which he was taken. And he drove the man out. And he placed cherubim at the east of the Garden of Eden, and a flaming sword which turned every way, to guard the way to the tree of life.
Now remember, Moreh Baruch did a good lesson about the tree of life. Y'all remember that? I wasn't here. I'm sorry if you missed it. I can't teach you the way he taught it, but a good point that he made about the children of Israel that went into the land of the promised land because they didn't know what.
They didn't know the knowledge of good and evil.
They didn't know the knowledge of good and evil. Think about that. They didn't know the knowledge of good and evil. Yadav means to be very intimate with, right? You know your Ish, you know your Isha, whatever the case may be. You're intimate with that person mentally, and y'all know the rest. Okay? But they did not know the knowledge of good and evil. Therefore, they could enter into the promised land. Now, what was it, if we take that point, what was the surrounding influence at that time for them? It was a whole lot of stuff that was going on, right? They heard their family members complaining, tripping. This is going on. That's the type of counsel that was in their environment.
Who you been listening to?
Who you been listening to? You listening to people that, hey man, you won't die. Or, Moshe not all of that. He not all of that. Who Aharon think he is?
You hear him talking? Come on, you can hear
You
it.
know what? It's stuff like, man, you know what? Yeah, this food is good, right? But look, in Mitzrayim, we had fish, we had leeks, we had melons, we had onions.
Big Macs, waffles.
Big Mac.
We had it all. But you know what? You brought us out here to kill us. That was the counsel that was going on. Now, he found you in the desert, in waste, and howling wilderness, and formed you. And the Ruach of Elohim hovered over the face of the deep. You were the apple of the Most High's eye. Through his word, you became his. That's why you are mine. I have called you by name. This is your job. Do that. Do this. You'll be good to go. If you don't, AKA, get into all other types of counsel. See, the story hasn't changed.
That's right.
It has not changed. And through your obedience, right, what you'll wind up doing is you teach everybody else how to level up. You will serve and you will protect the earth. Adam, your primary function is to serve and protect. So there wasn't anybody in the earth, to till the ground and work it and make sure it's good to go. So mankind, Adam, that's your job. Make it happen. Yisrael, I've given you laws, statutes, and commandments. And that when people see you, they're going to say, what nation is there that has laws that's good as these?
That's right.
These laws that allow life just to spring up. See? It hasn't changed. Only you've changed. only you have taken part in another type of counseling, or a different type of conversation, or undergone, I'm gonna say a mindset that probably isn't necessarily functional. Got that look back there, Aki.
Don't say probably. You know it ain't fun. Come on.
No, I'm with you. It's just how the scriptures is written. I'm a little baffled. It's something I think I got to. Well, I'll just make this statement. In verse 7, their eyes were both open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and make themselves aprons.
Right.
Then it goes down. If you go to 10, it said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked.
There you go.
But you made yourself, you covered yourself. And even when he came in, he said, hey, I'm naked. So it was just something that I thought I needed to dig a little bit deeper to get a better understanding of.
Watch this. Watch this. Go to Berashit 21.
Berashit 21.
21.
Verse
19.
Verse 19.
Yeah, let me get that.
Sefer Berashit, book of Genesis, chapter 21, verse 19. And Elohim opened her eyes.
What?
Opened her eyes.
Who is this? Who is that?
Hagar.
Hagar. Right?
And she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink.
So check this out, right? Everybody remember this scenario, this picture with Hagar, right? She goes out, and here's the thing, right? The terminology that we're using is to open the eyes in a double sense, right? And it's like the best way for me to explain it, right? Let's just say like an aha moment. An aha moment. Something that, normally or probably really isn't disclosed, right? If you're not paying attention. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you came in when we was talking about this, but earlier it said that they were naked and they were not ashamed. You follow me? They were naked and they were not ashamed. But after they partake of this, now they're naked, right? Now you gotta hide. So what does what does that do to the mind? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on in their intellect at this point? Because now you know something that it's got you feeling some kind of way.
Convicted.
You know what I'm saying? You know, and if I, I'm gonna put it like this, right? Let's just say, if I have to make an analogy, let's just say that if and they heard the voice of the Most High heard the voice walking in the garden in the cool of the day, right? I'm gonna say, to hear that, that's like, to me, I would suggest that that's the highest form of connectivity that you can have with the Creator. It's no different than in the temple, right? Which is why the temple cannot be unclean. There can't be any impurities in the temple, because of what? You distort the connectivity level.
Right.
That's why there has to be an atonement made by the high priest annually, right? For all the imperfections that are brought into the temple. Because through imperfection, you know what I'm saying, you become blind and you become deaf.
Thanks.
We have, you don't have to do anything, but I would highly suggest and encourage that you got to know that you are more than just the physical shell that's here. You got to know that, if your soul, your greater man, your higher self has ever tasted the experience of drawing closer to the Most High, it's kind of like when you go to Israel, for some people that's been, nope, I'm gonna say the people that I know, can we ever explain that feeling? You can't explain it. All you know is that it's familiar and you don't want to let it go. And that experience is unique to each and every individual. I can't tell you what it feels like. I can only express to you that now you're knocking on the door of being connected with your creator. And when you're connected with Yah, right? You told Mayo, you can hear, you can see, you can move accordingly. As opposed to, when you're sitting in your room every night, Yah, what do I gotta do? I read your word every day, yet I still don't know. I come out to Sabbath class every week, and I still don't know. That can, I would suggest that, so like this, right? In law, if A, then B. All right? You got two idealisms here, right? If this exists, then this exists. Right? And let's just say one component is, you know what? I'll do it like this. All men, right, are mortal beings. Everybody following me? That's part A. Yazakar is a man. Therefore, he's a mortal man. You follow me? So we did a little deductive reasoning right there, right, to capture the idea. All right? Connection with the Creator, right, is at the top of the list. Yazakar is not connected. Therefore, so it's putting things in, I would say especially what I'm dealing with, Aki, or what we could look at that as being connected. You follow me? Being connected, connecting with Yah. I'm telling you, when you feel it, there's nothing else you want. I don't know how to explain that to you. I can only suggest that I encourage everybody that that's the type of environment that we got to nurture up in here. Right. So when counsel goes forward, there's a way and there's a method that counsel should go forward. So if I'm gonna say if a method of whispering and hissing and divination and here's the thing, right? This word, man, the kosh, when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, it needs to be experienced. Not a dummy by fault.
Say that, Mom.
You follow me? Mm-hmm. So even this sounds good. That don't mean it's
Good.
functional.
Come on.
You follow what I'm saying back there? So, we elevating our minds here. That's what we got. We elevating our minds. This only goes back to the dust from which it was created.
Come on.
What's up with the soul, though? All right. Go ahead, Aki.
Oh, no.
Go ahead. Ask your question.
Okay, so what you say, so you're saying he's wise, but he's not functional. The Natasha, the servant.
No, he's very functional.
Okay, no mind.
He does exactly what he's supposed to do.
Exactly.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? That job is to present curiosity.
Okay.
But see, here's the faculty of it all. We were created with the ability to rationalize. You understand what I'm saying? We were created with that ability. Animals, they don't have no moral compass. They do what they do. They don't have no moral compass. Humans do. So, Yah, why did you create us like this? It's for an experience, and every experience is unique. But, that's where we at. All right? Go ahead, Aki. Let's get back to it.
Chapter 4. And Adam knew Hawa, his wife. And she conceived and bore Cain, and said, I have gained a man, Yahweh. And again, she gave birth to his brother, Habel. And Habel became a keeper of sheep, but Cain became a tiller of the ground. And it came to be, in the course of time, that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to Yahweh.
I know this is everybody's favorite part right here. Okay, keep reading.
And Habel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat. And Yahweh looked to Habel and his offering. But he did not look to Cain and his offering. And Cain was very wroth, and his face fell. And
Why? What's wrong with him?
What's wrong with his offering?
No, I said, what's wrong with him? Why has his countenance fallen?
Jealousy.
It didn't say he was jealous.
He didn't say.
Offering wasn't being accepted.
He must have been confident and not let down.
I say it again.
He was confident and not let down.
He was confident and he got let down. Okay, all right. Okay,
That's about it.
let's keep reading. I like this right here because let's just say for all intents and purposes, what we're dealing with right here is offerings, right? You know, what's the purpose of offerings? Rhetorical. Just think about it, all right? Tosi.
why is he wroth towards you? Why is your face fallen? Is it not, if you do good, you are to be accepted?
Mm-hmm.
And if you do not do good, towards the door is a sin. He is lying, and towards you is his desire, and you must rule over him.
Hold on. If you do well, won't you be regarded? And then there's a discourse that sin. It uses the word katat. Okay. All it means is to miss. It means to miss the mark. Okay? If I'm supposed to be a certain place and I miss the mark, right? That's how it's described contextually. You miss the mark. Okay? So, in other words, the ability to mess up or the ability to go outside of the path, so to speak, is always at the door. But what?
But you must rule over him.
You need to rule over that.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that teach us?
Like you said, like we all it's that's self-inflicted. So you just gotta guard our mind.
Listen.
Struggle.
Listen.
Sin is defeatable. Why?
It is. So I'll put it to you like this. We do not have to miss the mark. You don't have to.
Come on. Come on. That's right. That's right, Aki. Come on.
You follow me? That's the principle that we're dealing with, the principle of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So Cain offered an offering, Habel offered an offering. Right? But you know what? Offerings, what they often describe is intent. What does intent mean? Somebody get that for me? What does the word intent mean? Go ahead, Hakeem. what? The reasons behind what you do. Okay?
And Cain told Habel his brother. And it came to be when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Habel his brother and killed him. And Yahweh said to Cain, "Where is Habel your brother?" And he said, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?"
Yeah, you your brother's keeper. What do you mean? Yes, you are your brother's keeper. So later on, it might read something like, "And you shall love what?
Your brother, your neighbor.
You love your neighbor as you love yourself." Meaning, I want for you what I want for myself.
Shalom.
I'm saying that's what I want. Sin has no power over you unless you give it that type of power. It's the same thing with idols. Idols are nothing outside of the power you give it.
You energize that.
You know what I'm saying?
That's like that.
Sin or missing the mark doesn't have to rule over you.
Come on.
You shall rule over it.
Come on.
Remember, the Most High told Adam in the very beginning of what we were reading, right? You shall have dominion and rulership over all that you survey. What
So you say an idol's like an avatar, sort of? That it's the embodiment of which you want it to be.
Right? So, if polo is bad and it's an idol, that's because that's what you want it to be.
Come on.
Same thing with anything else. And I'm really trying to, evolve beyond some of the things that, I got you, Aki. Trying to evolve beyond some of the things that we kind of place in this box. Seriously. Right? I mean, think about it. If the prophet said they were nothing, why are you saying that it's something?
That's right.
Come on.
Why? Just something to think about.
Come on, make it real now. Make it real.
So
Okay, so it's very safe to insert that as we are progressing along, that not only is evolution beginning, but we also have science that is well equipped in this, because what you just described is your subconscious mind. The control that you as a man think of, so is he. So what you think is the energy that you send up, and it is not necessarily, it's not a law that you might see written per se, but the Most High put certain energies in existence that what you put out is going to come back. Period. There's a period behind that. It's not a question mark. If you think a certain way, 9 times out of 10, what you think is going to happen back to you. If you perform or do something against someone, it is eventually going to come back on you in some way, form, or fashion to make the fair and just weights and measures that we're going to learn about as we get deeper into our Torah season. So I just wanted to, I guess, get that as an insert, because we're listening to science going right now. We're talking about things of the mind. So it's very, I think that's a very important thing to consider, because it started in the garden.
right. From the very beginning, right? And from the very beginning, you know what? Most High is all about this right here. What sits on the seat of your intellect? What drives you? You know what I mean? So it's like this, right? I like this story, man, because he did this analogy one time, right? How would you know what ugly is if you didn't think you were ugly? If you didn't know what ugly was. Like, why would that even be a thing?
Right.
How would you know you were naked if that wasn't even a thing?
Come on, Rob.
So, you see, you concern yourself with things that are not even things. In fact, they're nothing. So what kind of power do you got really? You see what I'm saying? So if we got the power to do that, imagine what type of power we have when we stand on the side of righteousness and start doing things right.
Continuously.
You know what I'm saying? What kind of what kind of power does that allow us to have within our midst? See? So somebody ever tells you, brother, sister, sin is in you.
Mm-hmm.
Sin may be present, but that's not my L.
Come on. Born sinners.
You're born with the ability to make a choice.
Say it again, just like that.
That's what you're born with.
Come on.
You can choose to do good, or you can choose not to.
That's right.
It's up to you.
That's right.
Let no man, woman, child say that, you know what? You were tempted of Elohim.
Come on. It's all in your lap.
Because the Creator says, choose life. So if you really have to get down to it, you were already told to do what's right.
Come on.
That means you said, what did Nakashi do? Hey, surely you won't die. Maybe you can cut a corner on this wise, and you still gonna come up. Right? But how many decisions have we made in times past that we still dealing with the after effects of that decision now?
Come on.
And you like, if I, and then it's kind of interesting, right? You always, I don't know how many people this happens to, but you always get this still voice like, you remember when I told you that? you remember? I said, what's his name, by the way? And they said X, Y, and E, like, man, you told me.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I did it anyway. I did it anyway.
Make it real. Come on, Maury, make it real. That's right.
Gosh. It's in the mark. Let's see if I can.
And he said, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. And now you are cursed from the earth, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. If you till the ground, it shall no longer yield its strength to you. You shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth. And Cain said to Yahuwah, my punishment is too great to bear. See, you have driven me from the face of the ground today, and I am hidden from your face. I shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth, and it shall be that anyone who finds me kills me. And Yahuwah said to him, well, if anyone kills Cain, vengeance is taken on him sevenfold. And Yahuwah set up a sign for Cain, lest anyone finding him strikes him. So Cain went out from the presence of Yahuwah and dwelt in the land of Nod, on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Canuk. And to Canuk was born Erad, and Erad brought forth Mekuyael, and Mekuyael brought forth Methusael, and Methusael brought forth Lamech. And Lamech took for himself 2 wives. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the second was Zillah. And Ada bore Yabal. He was the father of those who dwell in tents with livestock. And his brother's name was Ubal. He was the father of all those who played the lyre and flute. As for Zillah, she also bore Tubal-Cain, a smith of all kinds of tools in bronze and iron. And the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. And Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice. Wives of Lamech, listen to my words, for I have killed a man for wounding me, even a young man for hurting me. For Cain is avenged 7-fold, and Lamech 77-fold. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and called his name Sheth. For Elohim has appointed me another seed instead of Habel, because Cain had killed him. And to Sheth, to him also a son was born, and he called his name Enosh. Then it was begun to call on the name of Yahuwah. Chapter 5. This is the book of the genealogy of Adam. In the day that Elohim created man, he made him in the likeness of Elohim. Male and female, he created them. And he blessed them and called their name Adam, or mankind, in the day they were created. And Adam lived 130 years and brought forth a son in his own likeness, after his image.
Hold up. Now, well, read this verse right here, real quick.
And brought forth a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth.
So wait a minute. Now notice, Seth and his sons, they are in the image and likeness of Adam. What's up with that?
What's your question? I'm sorry.
My question is, why are we told that? Why are we told that Seth is made in the image and likeness of Adam?
And nobody else.
Didn't say anything about it, you know. It didn't mention anything else about that to anyone else. And then it's getting ready to go through Seth's genealogy.
Adam was serving the Most High.
Huh? Say it again?
Adam was serving the Most High.
Okay.
I was gonna say something similarly too. Like likeness would be the character, so maybe he exhibited the character of Adam more so than the previous two.
All right. Okay. But if you're in the character of Adam, what's Adam's character at this point?
Come on now. He's kind of right. I mean, because he did with the creator, so
Adam is in the image and likeness of Elohim.
There you go.
Facts.
There you go. Dang.
But what happened to Cain and Abel?
Maybe it has something to do with her.
You think it has something to do with her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, throw her under the bus.
Anything we see at this point about this is something we make up. We really don't have the knowledge of this. I'm gonna need either the fruit of good evil, the knowledge. Either the fruit of the knowledge of good evil. Eve bore two sons, Cain and Abel. Adam was in the image and likeness of Elohim. There is nothing that says that there wasn't in the image of the likeness of Adam either. We just knew that it was children of Adam, these were children of Adam. And then along comes Seth. Later down the line, we know that Seth was born right after Abel was killed. We don't know what this is, just a genealogy. We don't know how this plays out. And then it says, well, he's born in the image of Adam. But we know Adam is the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. We know that. We know it says, and we spiritualize, we say Adam was born in the image. Adam was born in the image of the Most High. But that don't mean that anybody that comes through the lineage of Adam was born in the image of the Most High. Unless we step off the wagon, it says that Eve had children for somebody else. So that's another theory that we come through that may or may not even be factual or true. We be guessing at all of this stuff.
So let me say this, right? What I'm highlighting is the fact that there's no segment in the Tanakh that's just written just because, right? I can't assume that the same statement applies to the other children because why not tell us, right? What makes Seth different?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Seth is in the image and likeness of Adam, who at this time, right, his character is somewhat changed, right? It doesn't say that he's no longer in the image and likeness of Elohim, but let us create mankind in the image and likeness of Elohim. That's what Adam means, right? So thereby, you know what I'm saying, seed, right, or progeny, it should follow that same sequencing, right? It should. So it's no different than, let's just say my granddad had light brown eyes, my dad had light brown eyes, I got light brown eyes, so on and so forth, right? It's following a specific genetical code, right? Genetics, right? Whatever the image and likeness of Elohim is what it is. That's what Adam was fashioned, right? His son Seth, okay, is fashioned in his image and in his likeness, which we know at this point is different. So, not going too much into it, right? I would suggest we examine what image and what likeness is. Because it's pointing, it's telling us something. Man's nature has changed. And then it goes on so as to list his genealogy. Well, why not the genealogy of anybody else? They didn't have children. They just sat on the earth and was just like, hey, what's up? Was it kind of like that? You know, that can get into some theoretical conjecture, but what are we dealing with right now?
Why did we find out what was happening with Laban before we went into what the character itself was?
You feel me?
Because he said he killed a man by hurting him. You know, right? I mean, let's be serious. Like, you stepped on my slip right now. You got it's almost.
You got to get it.
done.
You know what I'm saying?
So and then he's like saying, okay, my father got, okay, I'm repping that. Something that should be a shame. He's like, oh yeah, I got 7, I got 2 more 7s with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so whatever the judgment that's upon him, he's wearing it like a badge of honor. He's totally cruel. So, okay, we have this totally cruel dude. Now let's show you somebody else's character.
Exactly. So what we dealing with? We're dealing with different characters unfolding. And at the end of this, you know what I'm saying, there's a statement that's going to be read altogether different. You know what I'm saying, that I'll tie it back into this at the end of it. But I want you to capture that thought. You got some people that's got some stuff going on, right? They stepped outside of what we talked about earlier. They stepped outside of function. Okay? Seth, I got something. Anybody know what Seth named me? Come on, y'all. Hook me up. It means compensation. Seth's name means compensation. Okay. So we can deal with that later, but go ahead, Akeem, real quick.
So should we infer? I was gonna just say Havel, but should we infer anybody born between Adam and Seth? They had similar characters. That should we infer that? So and I said Havel because you know his offering was separate. So between the first kids and then Seth, should we infer that they had similar characters?
You could make that conjecture. You could.
So then we shouldn't say necessarily that they had a rock character per se. They just had something different than
they were different. I'm not gonna say, you know, to say something is evil that the scripture doesn't say that is evil. Right. I'm not gonna say that. Yeah, but their character is different. Right. Okay? Their character is different. All right? And it's highlighting something to us. Seth is in the image and likeness of his eye. So I'm just, because then we're going to start, you know, and the reason why I'm saying this is because it's going to tie into something else. The sons of Elohim and the daughters of men. Mm-hmm. You know, and so many things kind of breed out of that, out of the text that, you know, a lot of us create them, but it's not really there. So, you know, that's kind of why I'm asking these questions, not to put the cart before the horse, but that's why I'm at. All right, come on, Keith. Let's finish this out.
And Adam lived 130 years and brought forth a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth. And after he brought forth Seth, the days of Adam were 800 years, and he brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. And Seth lived 105 years and brought forth Enosh. And after he brought forth Enosh, Seth lived 807 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enosh lived 99 years and brought forth Canaan. And after he brought forth Canaan, Enosh lived 815 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Enosh were 905 years, and he died. And Canaan lived 70 years and brought forth Mahalalel. And after he brought forth Mahalalel, Canaan lived 840 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. And Mahalalel lived 65 years and brought forth Yared. And after he brought forth Yared, Mahalalel lived 830 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died. And Yared lived 162 years and brought forth Canuk. And after he brought forth Canuk, Yared lived 800 years, brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Yared were 962 years, and he died. And Canuk lived 65 years and brought forth Methuselah. And after he brought forth Methuselah, Canuk walked with Elohim 300 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Canuk were 365 years. And Canuk walked with Elohim. Then he was no more, for Elohim took him. And Methuselah lived 187 years and brought forth Lamech. And after he brought forth Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years and brought forth a son, and called his name Noach, saying, "This one does comfort us concerning our work and the toil of our hands, because of the ground which Yahuwah had cursed." And after he brought forth Noach, Lamech lived 595 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noach was 500 years old, and Noach brought forth Shem 595 years and brought forth sons and daughters. So all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noach was 500 years old, and Noach brought forth Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And it came to be, chapter 6, and it came to be, Ham, and Japheth. And it came to be, chapter 6, and it came to be, when men began to increase on the face of the earth, and daughters born to them, that the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, that they were good. And they took wives for themselves, of all whom they chose. And Yahuwah said, "My spirit shall not strive with man forever, in his going astray. He is flesh, and his days shall be 120 years."
So here, man, we already have, a clear distinction of character, right? It says that, Most High says, his ruach shall not strive with man continually, right? Now, obviously, there's some different thoughts that's going on amongst creation at this point. We got a group of, murder has taken place, right? Just the genuine care for your brother is like kind of out the window, okay? And then, even in that, through, I'll say this, right? If you kind of look at those names that's listed in the genealogy, it kind of gives you a message if you want to take a look at that, right? From, who was it? Seth, kind of gives you a message if you want to take a look at that, right? From, who was it? Seth, yeah, from Seth all the way to Noah, if I'm not mistaken. Just look at all those names and see what kind of is put together through that. At the end of it all, it says that comfort is going to come, right, into the earth. Names all mean something. So that's just a point of reference, okay? Now, why does it need to be, if we could take that, why does comfort need to now come into the earth?
Some chaos out there.
It's a lot of stuff going on, right? And as we progress and we go through the following portions, right? Mankind's connection with the Creator has been severed, right? So many different things have taken place say that that was the original design. I mean, I wouldn't say that. Okay. Finish this out right quick, and then we'll go.
Okay. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days,
Right.
and also afterward, when the sons of Elohim came in to the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, the men of name. And Yahuwah saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
That means man's purpose has become deviant. Right? What was the primary function and purpose of mankind? Serve and protect. Right? His function has now become perverted. You follow what I'm saying? That it says Yetzer, right? You follow what I'm saying? That it says Yetzer, right? Yetzer is just a word that it can mean inclination, it can mean purpose, right? Ezer Connecto, I'm sorry, Aki. Ezer Connecto, right? She's made skillfully to be in opposition to your wisdom, right? You serve and protect, she's a helpmeet. Life is good. Be fruitful, multiply, obey. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, and in the 7th day, enjoy the blessing.
Dang.
Right? So you got to distinguish purpose. But you stepped outside the purpose now. And now the purpose has become deviant continually. Follow what I'm saying? But there are still some, right, that do listen. Tosifaki.
Yahuwah saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And Yahuwah was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. And Yahuwah said, I am going to wipe off man, whom I have created from the face of the ground, both man and beast, creeping creature and birds of the heavens, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of Yahuwah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Okay, and that's the portion, everybody. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Okay, now we can do a brief Q&A. All right.
I wanted to I got a question. I want to make a statement about that genealogy. When we were referencing Seth, which in Hebrew is actually pronounced Sheikh. Cohen Shekmiah in Charlotte, that's what his father named him. The me, one of the spellings for of is the mem with the e sound of it, Shekmiah, which means anointed of Yah.
Okay.
So I just wanted to insert that the Hebraic thought process of Seth is, like you said, Sheikh, Shek, however you want to pronounce it. And taking it all the way back to the very beginning, I just wanted clarity on what you broke down a complete day cycle to be. As it was repeated in the first 5 days, there was evening, there was morning, day one, so forth and so on. Then there was a distinction made between the greater light being the light that governed the day, and the lesser light is the light that governed the night. What constitutes a day, based upon what you taught earlier?
So let's go back to it, right? What constitutes a day? It says that there was evening, and there was morning. All right. So we look at some words in Hebrew, right? Good question. Evening. Anybody know that word? Erev. What does the word Erev mean? Evening.
Mixture.
Mixture of what?
Lights.
mixture, right? So, you want to know what's interesting? This same color pattern, right? Take this concept of the edeb, which is the mixture of light and darkness, right? It's the same colors that you see that Yisrael utilized in the construction of the tabernacle, right? And now it has different vocabulary that's utilized later on down the line, right? But think about it. When the sun sets today, go take a look outside and look at the mixture of how you get that transitioning period from night to day and vice versa. So there was evening, right? And then there was what?
Morning.
Which is
It's that same mixture, isn't it?
no.
But not the same, like as nighttime, but like the transition from the night to the morning, is that considered?
So the transitional period is the end, right? That's when you see light and you see dark. Everybody's seeing that, right? Now, Boker is morning. And if I have to break this down by quadrants of like with some math or whatever the case may be, I will. But the Boker normally consists of how many hours? Is it 12? When is it actually considered Boker?
Okay, I see what you're saying. We're not talking about the totality of daylight. Your question is morning itself, the essence of morning.
What is the essence of morning? Okay, and then we come into what? No. The day, right? Yom, and then you come into what? The edeb again, and then you go into the night, right? Now it's the closing of one day and the entering into the next day.
At what point?
At night. So, for an example, right?
Thank you.
When do you eat the Pesach?
No, that's full. Slaying is at the end, but eating it
Is at night. The slaying is at the end in the mixture, right? So technically, that would be day what?
What?
No.
It's the same day.
Listen to me. The day counting, right? When do we observe the Pesach? On what day?
14.
On the 14th. The edeb is technically what?
13. That's 7 mixture.
You make it tomorrow.
What day is that?
It's still the same day.
The 13th.
The first.
14th, right? And you're in the mixture. Are we in the 13th or are we in the 14th? No, you're in the 14th still. You don't come into the 15th. Because when do you eat it?
At night.
At night.
At night, right? So what day is that?
It's nothing. You're in limbo.
Are you in limbo? Or
You're in between. You're in that transitional period.
Well,
because
you're
it's
in the
not
edit.
night and it's not day.
You're in the edeb you're in the transitional period, right? When you eating, it's at nighttime. It's the Lila, right? So you got a period of night, and then you come into what? The Boker. No. Actually, you go back into the mixture again,
right?
And then you'll come into the Boker.
As it blends into the actual.
Right? Go ahead, Aki.
And for this cycle right here, just to add, just to answer Yeshia's question regarding the mixture, the Lila and the Boker, it's called a Shakur. And Morey Baru and Morey Malak did a lesson on that. Well, it's called a Shakur. So evening is only the Erev, and then between the Lila and between Boker it's called Shakur. Yeah, just look it up. It's there.
Okay.
So just to let them know what it was.
So if I want to make sure let me address this first, right? The concept of Yom day. Right? I have Edeb over here. And let's just say this is the 14th. Then I have Edeb over here. And let's just say this is the 15th. Right? In between Erev and Yom, what do you got? Between Yom and the next Erev, what do you have? Because that would be what part of the day?
Lila?
Not Lila.
Everybody's not ready.
Well, Erev is here, right? So we're dealing with cycles of the day. Okay? I think this is no happen. So Erev to Boker, right? Morning. Right? Okay? So let's just say this is, let's say 0500. Okay. Right? Sun rises, let's just say for all intents and purposes, 8 o'clock. Well, maybe earlier.
0600.
Okay.
0630.
06. From 6 to about what time? Is morning.
10.
Okay, so you want to do 10. Right? That could be considered bokeh, right? The day is around what time? 12, right? All right, from 12 to what time?
Back to what we do.
Because this is the afternoon, right? 12 to what time?
Back to what we do.
Because this is the afternoon, right? So what's that? What's that normally called?
Yeah. I'm talking about, that's Zoharayim at noon. And then
So what bridges the two Erevs, right, is the Lila. Does it not? On one side of the night,
there was evening, there was morning.
right? Evening, and there was morning. And then there was what? Oh, it says it was evening and there was morning and there was one day.
One day, that's
right? But what it doesn't tell you is it doesn't talk about the rest of the cycles of the day. So what are the other cycles of the day? Right? So you have the Lila, which is the night, right? And that's a period of time. You have the Boker, you have the Yom, and then you have the afternoon, right? Which bleeds into the next Erev, which is the following mixture. And then in the mixture, you go into night. And then you go back into Erev.
Erev, Zoharayim, Erev,
Lila, Erev.
All the different components of
all
one
the
day.
So if you want to classify a day, right? Okay. And this is where it kind of gets into different schools of thought. If you want to classify a day, are you classifying the entire cycle, or are you only classifying the period of when the sun is up?
When the light, right?
When the light is up, because it says that there was evening, there was morning, and that's a day, right? But what it doesn't tell us is it doesn't tell us about this cycle of the day, which is nighttime. Let's go back to it. Go to Berashit. Let's go read it. Let's go to Berashit. Go to Berashit 1:8. Or you know what? 1:5.
Sefer Berashit, Book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 5.
Good question.
And Elohim called the light day.
So or is called what?
Light.
The light is
Yom.
Yom.
Or he called the light. What did he call that?
He called it Yom.
He called it day.
Right.
Yom. Okay, read again.
And Elohim called the light day. And the darkness he called night.
And the Choshek he called night.
Right.
Okay, so let's just say this is day. Night. All right, what was there?
Evening.
And there came to be evening. There came to be morning.
Okay, right? There came to be evening.
There came to be
morning. And then what was there?
One day.
There was one day, right? But night is on the opposite side of the spectrum, is it not? Is that consistent of the day or not? So a westernized thought is we come into the next day at 12 o'clock. midnight, right? But Hebraic thought is you come into the next day, right? When you're entering, you're coming out of one day and you're entering into the next day, right? So the fullness of the night is entering into the next day because you're going to transition into the end. Are you not?
Okay.
That's the cycle of a day. But again, like I said, is where people kind of differ in opinion is, do you classify the day only to be when the sun is up, right? Or do you classify the whole cycle of a day? Well, hold on, Iman, 1 second. Well, here's the thing. So when you got seasonal changes, you don't have the same amount of daylight in the spring than you do in the fall. You got less daylight, right?
Okay.
So how do you account for that?
That's true.
These are a lot of different components that, it doesn't explain to us, right? But what we do know is on either side of the day, you got 2 periods when there's a mixture in the day, right? As you're coming into a day and as you're going out, there's 2 mixtures. And then from that point on, as soon as the sun rises, you got the morning, you got noonday, you got the afternoon, then you're going into another mixture, and then you're at night. That's what we know. Everybody follow me? Okay, go ahead with your question.
But at this point, he hadn't even created the lights to rule the day and to rule.
Well, it says that the sun is going to, so he's asking me about a day, not about what's created, right? So he said, I've given the greater light, which we know to be the sun, that rules the day. I've given the lesser light that rules the night, right? What it doesn't kind of go into, it doesn't go into the time expanse of how it all transitions. All right. It doesn't go into that. But what it did say is that the lights, the arot, which is, it's plural, so that means that you have the greater light and the lesser light, right? What are they supposed to be for? Signs, appointed times, and what else? Days, and what else? Years. So I could not exclude one from the other because it says what they are both functioning for. That's what it said. Did it not?
Okay.
So what does constitute a day? How shall we define the cycle?
In the morning.
Let's go back up, right? Hey, we'll read it again, right? Give me that part. Give me the part with the
Verse 5.
Yeah.
Verse 5. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. There came to be evening, there came to be morning, one day.
So go to verse 14.
Verse 14. And Elohim said, let lights come to be in the expanse of the heavens, separate the day from the night.
So the sun separates the moon, right? So there's a clear distinction, right? And that's a half, if you will. Everybody following that? That's a half, right? Okay? This is a good question.
Yeah, I'm glad you do, because you make me more confused than I was.
Well,
It's a process.
The sun separates the day from the night.
from the night. That's what it does. But they're both lights.
Right.
Yeah,
One is greater, one is lesser,
right.
right?
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line. What everybody else is getting kind of hung up on is
Daytime.
terminology.
And nighttime.
You getting hung up on Boker, Yom, Lila. You know what I'm saying? Everything that we're describing, they describe the totality of what's known as a day. So in a day, there's transitional periods. Some of those transitional periods are Erev, Boker, right? The afternoon, the night. Welcome to the complete cycle of a day. Now, however you kind of break that down into whatever you conceptualize, I guess that would be on the beholder, right? But what we know according to the scriptures is that there's two lights, right? One is distinctive from the other. And in that cycle are different parameters for how the day is described.
And the purposes of these lights.
Right.
Which goes beyond just lighting the night sky or the daytime.
So, and it said what the purpose was for. Seasons, days, years. All of those, hence, when we get to the Pesach, there's something that you do between the evenings, there's something that you do at night, and then there's something that you don't let go past the morning. Remember that?
Okay.
Why? Because that's going into the... Were you going to take it with you? No, you were not.
No. So I guess when you're talking about being on several days' journey, knowing that they didn't have Apple Watches, they didn't have any gauges, what were they relying on to say, okay, we've traveled one day? I'm just saying.
I would say that, you know what, they had to rely on their environment. I think that our ancestors were trained in astronomy and astrology. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they worshipped it. What I am saying is they were very familiar with their surroundings.
They were in tune with it.
You know what I'm saying? There's no other way to explain it.
And the components of this cycle, because
Right.
as you're walking, you're looking at these mixtures and so forth and so on. You're actually acknowledging, okay, we walked one day and so forth and so on. So,
did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Another question? Go ahead.
You said Arab.
Edit. Come on.
What are the meanings of Arab? Like, what are all the words that go with Arab?
So there covers it just covers usually just a general term just to mean the mixture. That's it. It just means the mixture, right? Hold on. Okay, you still.
Okay, so my question to you is, okay, Most High call the day Yom, correct?
Okay. Called the light,
He
yo.
called the light Yom.
Yep.
Okay. Then later on we read in 5 towards the end, he says, in the evening and the morning were the first Yom, correct?
First day.
So now my question to you is, he called it a Yom. And also in that same verse, he gives you day and night. And then he says the evening and the morning were the first day. Then if he called it Yom, why not call a day evening?
Why not call the day evening?
Yeah.
That's a man-made term.
I guess I'm trying to.
So what I'm getting at is the name is Yom. For first day.
This is the answer to your question. The greater light, right, rules the lesser light.
It has a duality to be.
It can have
That's what it is.
It can.
Because like I can say I read the story spelled the same way, R-E-A-D. Then I turn around and say, oh yeah, I read the story, R-E-A-D. How would you know which one I'm talking about if I don't give you the explanation of it? So in the one part, he called the light day, all right? Then when he was distinguishing between the light and the dark, okay, then he called it one day.
Right.
Okay, so you have to know the context in which he's using it. Because at first he said that, oh, the light is called Yom. We know Yom to be a day, but when he went on and further explained everything that he did, he said there was evening, and then there was morning. That was one day. So he went through the whole cycle, but he left out, like I've just explained, some parts was left out. It depends on how you're using the word. That word has two meanings.
And
I agree with you.
But you disagree.
And what I'm seeing is when he says evening and morning, that's the movement of the day in Yom. He called the day Yom. Let there be light. And in that same word, we know light as Yom. Because later on he calls it Yom. He's saying the same thing. Let there be light, let there be Yom.
So I'll say this right here, Aki. Let me do this. Because there's several different ways to approach this, right? I think that, it's all good. It's a good question. And I'm going to tell you several different ways to approach this, right? I think that, it's all good. It's a good question. And I'm going to tell you why it's a good question, because from this springs several different thoughts about how to observe the Sabbath. You follow what I'm saying? So it's not a bad question, you know what I'm saying? But it kind of goes into a lot of different things told out for the question, right? Now, I'm just gonna say this, okay? I think that we probably should expand our horizons when it comes to what the concept of a day is. Right? In a day, there is koshek, there is edeb. All of these elements make up what we know as yom. In yom, there's a greater light. There's a lesser light. In yom, the greater light rules the lesser light. It's still or, right? No matter how you look at it, the sun is a light, the moon is a light. The stars are a faction of a light. Everybody follow what I'm saying? That is yom. What we're doing is we're trying to scale it and say, well, at this faction of the day, this is this. At that faction of the day, this is this. You understand what I'm saying? When in fact, the creators, I'll say this. The scriptures don't tell us to do that. It just doesn't. Kind of lays it out exactly what it is. And then we see other examples of how people categorically did things throughout the cycle of a day. And I use the Pesach as an example because, it kind of gives you some hints as to, okay, well, this is probably what this time was. This is what that time was, so on and so forth. So, and remember, everything had to be done in what? Haste, right? So if I know if I'm doing the slaughter between the evenings, right? And then I got to eat it at night, I got about how long to consume this meal?
Not long.
You don't got long, right? And the rest of it, you know what you got to do. And the bottom line is nothing can stay beyond the morning. All right? So that kind of gives us some imagery as to what the cycle of the day could have looked like. Does that make sense what I'm saying, everybody?
Makes sense. Next question.
Next question.
I got a question, statement. I spoke to somebody too before, and they was like, we was talking.
You got a statement or you got a question?
Statement. We were talking and the person just told me, they was like, yo, like, I forgot the specifics, but the whole thing that, like you said, is, a lot of words mean two different things. Just like how, like, Imata, right? Read. But how you know what the word means? Only way you're gonna know is you read the whole thing. You can't just read that one thing and then try to like discern what it is. You gotta read from the top to the bottom, because if words is used in different ways, you're gonna know how the word's being used if you read the whole text. You're gonna know that. So that's like a big thing. Like we already know a lot of words in Torah means two different things. So how you gonna know? It's gotta read the text and you see it in the text.
Got another question. Oh, I'm gonna agree with you. No, I'm agree. No, I'm agree with you. What I would say is, I stated earlier that we gotta look at the words and understand what the words are saying. I would recommend that everyone look at the words and really look at words and what each word means and what each word is stating. Again, if we're all to walk one way, because that's one thing about the book is we're all in agreement on something. We all got to come to an agreement of what this is. So again, words do mean a lot. If we're talking about using the words and we're using stuff like concordance and stuff like that, and if we look at each word individually, you may change your thoughts about what the thing is. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Next question.
I want to add in conjunction with that, don't just do it from what you see in the Greek language. Let's go into Ibrit and break down some of these meanings, because you're going to find that that's going to make a difference as well. I agree with you. This is an agreement statement, but I don't want to stay in this language that we're speaking right now, because this is not our language.
Yeah. Again, both languages.
Which means okay.
Move on.
No, go ahead.
No.
Another question.
Next question.
Question would be, so why was it man created to?
Say what?
Why was it man created to?
Who said he wasn't created too?
Well, after he lists everything in creation, it was told. It was told. It was told.
It's hot.
But I mean,
It's hot. It's just how it's read. For the 7 days he rested. Everything was created in a 6 day time period. It's just the way it reads that makes it sound like man wasn't created within that 6 day time period.
okay. But then why does it say it's not good for man to be alone? So that means it's outside of Torah. It's not right. I mean, why would that be that?
It does say that. Man, he created them, man. That's what I was saying earlier. He created them, man and female. But female was like he was asexual. He was incompetent to us. He didn't have us. She was there, but she wasn't there. So now he has to put man to sleep to bring something out of him, just like him, to be helping.
Why wasn't she told?
She was told. She was told. He was told. He was told. Everything was told. Everything was told.
Everything was told.
Everything was told. It just decide to do what we're gonna do, or we seek knowledge, or curiosity gets the best of us than the one we're told.
Because
we'll choose.
I might have read it different, like, and I know I was reading it before, but I didn't have that time I was rushing. I'm not done with it. But it was a sustainable for me. Because not, told. So in my mind, it's like a good enough mate. I don't know. I'm just asking the questions.
Well, your question was, why wasn't man created too?
Correct.
I wouldn't say that that's the case. Never said he wasn't created too.
Okay.
I would just say in the summation of creation in day 6, it says that, it kind of gives this imagery that after looking at everything was told made over. Now, there is a coexisting where it says, well, you know what, it's not good, for man to be alone, right? Which, Cain, I got your point on that, right? And to enhance this, let me make this as well. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna say this. I see a duality in your statement. And if we go with the function of toe being completely functional, I got you.
Correct.
You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? I got you.
Next question.
I get it. I get it.
Next question.
That's like another thing that's kind of deep though.
No more questions?
No more questions?
I got a question already.
Oh, I got a question too, man.
Go ahead.
When it's talking about the tree of knowledge of good and evil, how can it be evil if it was told every day was told?
So remember what I said, right? Told, we can draw that this means it's functional in its purpose. You know what I'm saying? So that's I don't want to get caught up on good as the English word good, as opposed to told as in it's functional. You say something is told, it's like, yo, you know what? That's good for business right there. It's good in what it does. So like like the kazir, right? The kazir was created. It's an unclean animal, but it's told in its function. Trash can, right?
So when we're looking at, I'm going to use an English word. So when we're looking at the word rob, it has a good function.
When you're looking at the word rob,
the word,
which would be evil, like that's what people
right. So in its function, it's told for what it does.
In the function, I would say in the function, if you look at Ra is just out of function.
Right. Okay. Cool.
That's how I would look at it. That's how I would look at it. Out of function. And then if you ever get a chance, look at how these words like good and evil kind of come about in textual criticism and stuff like that. Just kind of look at that. All right, good, bad, blah blah blah. Either you functional or you not. Okay? Because even the adversary, which carries a negative connotation, was good in its function. Who's gonna go be a lying spirit?
Right.
To what?
Right.
To King Ahaz, right? I'll go do it. But that was told for that function because what had to come about as a result. Even when you get into the narrative of Shaitan. I'm just saying, like, listen, I don't wanna get caught up in it, right? Don't look at it as good in terms of the English connotation of good. Adversarial experiences, they do one or two things. They either bring out something greater in you or you continue in that vein of thought. Right? Ultimately, in terms of, I'm gonna say, purpose outlined by the Creator, it's all good. What happened with Adam and Hawa, we would call it evil, but it ultimately is good for our purpose because we can learn from it and be better about it. You follow what I'm saying? Here serves as an example of what happens when you step out of character, when you step out of function. Learning that story was told. What happened could be viewed as out of function. Some might even call it evil. You call it whatever you want to call it. Right? But in essence, it's like, it's like what you meant for evil, the Most High meant for good. All right?
Question.
Most
High said, all is told mayod.
Take one more after this.
Most High said, all is told mayod, right? Including the Nakash. Nakash was serving its purpose, right? Nakash was functional. Why would, if everything was very good, including Nakash, and it did its purpose, why would it get punishment later on?
So, if the Nakash was good in its purpose, you know what I'm saying, why would it receive a consequence? I think that kind of bleeds over into two thoughts, right? I think it kind of bleeds over into Nakash, and Nakash meaning snake. You know what I'm saying? Which Nakash doesn't mean snake. You know what I'm saying? You get the imagery of a snake and how snakes kind of do what they do. You know what I mean? But I don't think that there's anything that every action that kind of takes place that has there's an answer for that. You know what I'm saying? There's something that it's all about balance, right? Even though, and here's the thing, right? And y'all get real deep today. This whole thing is about restructuring and bringing balance, right? You know, as a result of this, right, some things happen, but balance has to be restored. Everyone is rendered according to whatever deeds that you do, right? And I think that, you know, it kind of fits into the scheme of functionality. So what do I mean by that, right? This whole experience, what does it do? It kind of ties into, well, what is the experience that's been allotted to man? To go through certain things, right? To learn, to become better, to reestablish that connection with the Creator. There's certain things that you can do that are absolutely outside of character and function. But ultimately, like I said, it's going to be one or two things, right? And I think these stories highlight those examples. Either you're going to grow and you're going to get better, or you're not. I mean, it's the duality of the matter. Okay.
Hold up, more.
You should have one.
I don't have a question, I have a statement to close out.
Okay.
I was just gonna keep it brief. Really, Hebrew has no exemption, English has no exemption to, sometimes words had different meanings back when they were originally used. So like the word nice, for example, it can mean like silly, depending on what time period that you're looking at the word nice. Like different words like play has a different type of connotation than let's run around and let's have fun. So Hebrew is no exemption in that, you know what I'm saying? Kind of look at the etymology of words, meaning the root meaning, or maybe how a certain time frame or a certain group of people use the word and stuff like that. Because sometimes we'll look at it through a 2019 perspective and it was meant with an 1800 perspective. That's what I said.
Gotcha. All right, so.
Yeah, this is a statement. So as we proceed forward, because as we well know, this is the beginning, first day of a new Torah season. When I went over this portion last year, one of the things that I inserted at the very beginning is as we proceed along, it's imperative that we utilize the element that was with the Most High in creating the 8th proverb, wisdom. There's going to be a lot of times when we really have to dig deep and utilize this wisdom. And I add to this to that, Devarim 30:11. Now what I am commanding you today is not too difficult for you or beyond your reach. We don't have to dig so deep. The Most High said that this is only as difficult as you make it be.
Right.
I understand, and you know what he also said, I didn't put that up in Devarim, that the secret things belong to the Most High. So guess what? Every single thing that you expect to see is not going to be written out in this book in a textual format that is going to answer your questions. You're going to dig and you're going to keep digging, and then it's going to lead to this conjecture and things that you cannot back up and base. Now you're moving on your opinions, and everyone is entitled to one. That's cool. But I guess my only insert on this, it makes it a lot more difficult when we get that shovel or that scuba gear and go in deep like Jacques Cousteau. If we keep it on the surface and just get to the essence, the point, trust me, it's going to open our eyes up. This stuff is right here. It's not even that difficult. It's difficult when we go in too deep. That's all I want to say as we move forward into this Torah season.
That's my last question. All right. Everybody told Mayo?
So functional.
Everybody functional? All right.
Very functional.
Told everybody, may the Most High bless all of Yisrael underneath the sound of my voice that was part of the portion today. Told her for your attentiveness. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
All praises to the Most High, y'all, for that teaching right there. Hopefully everyone got, something out of it. And You know, I want to go against my op here. It gets deep sometimes, y'all. It looks like that sometimes.
That smile was worth $1 million, my queen.
A lot of things. So, all praise to the Most High, y'all. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and get some praises to the Creator, y'all. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Play drums today.
What do you mean?
Hallelujah.
Let us exalt His name together. And as we enter into the house of Yahweh, we sing praises. Praises to Yahweh. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praises to Yahweh. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praises to Yahweh. Magnify Yahweh with you. Let us exalt His name together. And as we enter into the house of Yahweh, we sing praises. Praises to Yahweh. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praises to Yahweh. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praises to Yahweh. Magnify Yahweh with me. Let us exalt His name together. And as we enter into the house of Yahweh, we sing praises. Praises to Yahweh. Hallelujah. 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 Praises to Yahweh. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praises to Yahweh. Praises to Yahweh. Praises. Oh, Yah, we praise Thee. Oh, Yah, we magnify You. Oh, Yah, we lift Your name up high and all the earth. Oh, Yah, we magnify You. Never rock, rock, know that name. Oh, Yah, we lift Your name up high and all the earth. High and all the earth. Oh, Yah, we praise. Oh, Yah, we magnify. Oh, Yah, we lift Your name up high and all the earth. Oh, Yah, we magnify. We're rocking for that name. Oh, Yah, we lift Your name up high and all the earth. High and all the earth. Oh, Yah, we praise You. Oh, Yah, we magnify You. Oh, Yah, we lift Your name up high and all the earth. Oh, Yah, we magnify You. And we're rocking on His name.
All praises to the Most High, y'all. Again, total for six. Thank you. Hallelujah. Give it up for the Creator. Yes, presence in this building. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Talking about the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That's right. And the ruach that's present in this building. Hallelujah. 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 All right. Is there any questions or statements from the big D?